So you walk with a little bit of an ego, bro. I had an
गजानन गणपति महाराजनी जय, जय माताजी, महाकाली मातनी जय, राधे राधे, नमः पार्वती पते, हर 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 महादेव. So we have been talking for last 30 minutes actually.
Yeah.
And that's good that we are in flow now. In a way, we are in flow. So I'm doing this for the first time, and thank you so much, Adi, coming over here means a lot. I know I said this 1,000 times before this, but means a lot. You're coming down over here and just for the video. He's not even taking any money. That means a lot because I did ask him for the money, and he was like, "No, I'm just gonna do it for the people who really want to listen to the stuff that we are talking. We're gonna touch upon the points, right? But let's see how it goes.
Sure.
We're not gonna point out, okay, let's talk about men's mental health. No, we will be in a flow,
Yeah,
and then let's see how it goes, right?
Yeah.
And also thank you to Manan, my friend. I'm gonna say it on the podcast because he's doing all this shooting. You see lighting and everything. That's because of him. He's a very good friend of mine. He's behind the camera, but he's a great videographer, photographer. I know nobody says it in the first part of the podcast. Oh, you're thanking, yeah, but obviously because this has nothing to do with me. This has to be done by the people around me, and I'm thankful to both of you. Thank you.
Of course, bro.
So before we start, we did talk about a bit of your childhood, right?
Yeah.
And we did shoot about that, but I was on music. You also make music, right?
Yeah.
So music also can define the culture you're coming from.
Yeah.
So back in India, I think more of what you call the cultural music. So every state has their own music.
Yeah.
Over here, I've seen music change a bit, but that's because of the color. So the black guy will listen to something else. I think the white guy will listen to some particular music, right? What do you think about that?
I think the generation's changing, brother.
Mm,
Like coming from a guy that grew up here,
mm,
right? Like there's a saying, you give credit where credit is due.
yeah, that's true.
So I don't care what it is, man.
Mm,
Like genuinely, I run with the thinking, if somebody's taking some time as a creative, right?
mm,
If somebody's taking time to put effort into building something,
mm,
I'm going to give it a go.
yeah,
You know,
makes sense.
and there are preferences,
Mm.
and there are things that you like and that you don't like, but music influences you.
Yeah.
You know, I've always for me, it was like music was a way to language. I had to learn English.
Yeah.
Right. And so like hip hop immediately
hip-hop,
came
yeah.
this great facilitator to help me like learn the language
Mm,
and learn stories, bro. And that's
mm.
why I do the work that I do. I'm obsessed with people. I'm obsessed with people's story.
Yeah, that's it.
You take time to like go through different kinds of albums, different
Mm.
people's works.
Mhm.
You learn about them,
Mm,
right? And through learning about people, you facilitate understanding.
mm.
It's a beautiful thing.
But you also make music.
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of music you like?
Man.
You make, right?
Yeah.
You maybe like people who don't make music, they don't understand because you can like something else, right? As in person, oh, I like that genre, but you're making something totally different, right? So it doesn't matter what you like, but you might be creating something totally different.
It's a
Yeah.
personal passion project, bro, for me. Like, number one, it's the only way I know how to express myself.
Okay.
In healthy ways, you know?
Healthy ways, yeah.
But number two, it's like one of my main goals, I want to be a father one day.
Mm.
But I want my kids to know who I am. Mm-hmm. So every year I make an album.
Oh, really?
And it's titled by the year.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm 32. So for September, my birthday, there will be songs describing this year.
Wow.
So it's like it's like a time capsule for my kids.
Oh, perfect.
So I started this when I was about 22.
22. Oh wow.
So when they go to the year 22 CD, they'll realize how dumb and silly their dad was.
Damn. Yeah,
you know?
that's cool.
But you learn, I hope they see some kind of maturation. But the flow, bro, of like what it is to be a young man.
That's interesting, man.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting, But do you release the music as well?
No, personal.
No, personal.
Personal. Because I have no intention of, the moment it becomes, everything is so beautiful as it is.
Yeah.
The moment it becomes work, I'm scared
Ooh,
that
that's a deep one. Yeah.
the passion for it will leave. I care about it.
Yeah.
It's highly personal.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I get to know somebody, I can share my music. But it's so deep, I think, anyways.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it feels deep.
Yeah.
So sharing, it's like being naked in front of somebody you don't know.
Yes, that's true.
Art,
art is.
Yeah.
Especially music. The music is, it's like the chemical in your head. You're creating something, what's there in your head, and you're putting out something in words or maybe in the beats. Even if you hear the beats, some people make like grinding music, and he's been going through some tough time.
Yeah.
In a way, right? If, like, I've read somewhere, what you listen, that you become. So if you're listening to a cold jazz music, and you'll be like, okay, I'm calm. But if you're listening to like hard style EDM,
For sure.
your heart will be pumping, right?
For sure.
And that's how your behavior and everything changes.
For sure, bro.
Because when I was listening to EDM back in 2019-20, I was a different guy. And right now, if you ask me, if I show you my playlist, what I listen to, you'll be like, what the hell is this? I listen to more of what I can say, music which is connected to God.
Cool. Yeah.
For like God's music.
Yeah.
You call it bhajan. So I listen more of a bhajan now.
Yeah.
And guy from 2019, if he sees me right now doing this, he'll be like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
You're supposed to do something else, doing something else. So that way music also defines me.
Yeah.
For real. Like, music is something which is so deeply connected with me.
Yeah.
I wish I can do this. Like you're saying, you started writing music. So you write music, or like you create music?
Everything. So
everything.
I write. I just recently started learning how to play guitar.
That's cool, man.
But I write. I have a friend that I can go to a studio for when I'm ready to record.
Wow.
Buy
So
beats
you
online.
do it like professionally, right?
Like Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So
I mean, I don't, professionally sounds like too strong of a word, but like.
No, but you go into studio.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you're sitting there, you're making something on your laptop. No, you're going to studio.
Yeah.
You record the stuff and
Yeah.
release something. Like release like.
Let me give you a little context, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, like I grew up without my grandparents. I didn't meet one of them, right? My mom's parents died very early.
Oh.
And it's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
My mom's parents died very early in her life. I only have heard stories about them, how fantastic they are, Yeah. And I got to meet my dad's mom, but I never met my dad's dad.
Okay.
And my parents say that my dad's dad, my grandpa, me and him are like the same people.
Same people, yeah.
You know?
That says, saying in generations.
And so I got worried. I was like, man, I always saw people grow up with their grandparents. I'm like, oh, what a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Because you have a more tame version of your parents.
Yes.
And I see the relationship is really beautiful. It's nice and slow. Yeah. Maybe there's some hardship with your mom and dad, but with the grandma or grandpa, there's real love, right? So I was like, you know what? In case my mom isn't around when I have a kid, I want my kid to know about my mom. Ooh. So I have like a song titled like Your Grandma.
Oh, wow.
And then, but these are things that I don't want to release.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Man, that's beautiful. That's like something recently I've never heard something like this. I've heard people make music. If I start making music, I'll be making more of about myself. But you're not just making music about yourself. You are something else. Like, I really love what you're doing right now, right? The music part, because we did had a talk about this before, like stuff like this, but this never came up, and this must be very personal to you, right?
Yeah.
I would love to listen something.
Oh, I definitely
something offline, bro. Like not on the camera. I
could definitely show you.
Yeah, something, because this is very interesting, and you have inspired me to do something for myself. I might not release something, but I might start making music after this, because I wasn't making anything from last 4 years. So I stopped making music. I don't know the reason. And I've heard like you also used to play sports.
Yeah.
So, and you stopped playing sports. and you know how it feels when you have to leave something behind,
Yeah.
which you love so deeply, right? But what were you playing, like
Basketball.
basketball?
Yeah.
That's good.
I was a pretty like good athlete in high school.
Okay, who's your favorite player before we start?
Oh man, that's a tricky question, brother. I grew up watching LeBron.
Okay.
But my favorite player was probably Magic Johnson.
Oh,
Yeah, old school guy from the
also,
80s.
yeah.
Very fun.
Mm.
You know, that's and it loves to pass the ball. I like to get other people interested in the game by
Oh.
participating. But listen,
I understand why you're in this field. You know yourself, right? Because now you're giving the perspective of that other guy that he used to pass the ball because he wants other to be involved as well. Michael Jordan, on the other hand, he was like, I'm a more of a guy. I'm not saying anything bad about Jordan. I'm a fan. Like, he was the one to go, go, go. I'm like, I'm gonna finish the game, right? He was more of like, I'm the one who's gonna finish the game.
you know what it is, bro? It's sports is very much like real life, brother.
Mm.
You have different types of people all around the world, different attitudes, different values,
Yeah.
different perspectives,
Yeah.
all chasing the same outcome.
Mm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Me and you can be going to Toronto today,
Mm-hmm.
and we can be in the exact same car. We can be both driving 2015 Toyota Corollas.
Yeah.
You might love speed, and I
Mm.
might love taking it slow.
Yeah.
We're still gonna get to the same destination.
100%. Yeah.
Same thing with sports, bro. Everybody's personalities come out. Michael's a killer, bro.
Yeah, he is.
Killer. But I respect it.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant, killer.
Yeah, same
You know?
mental, almost same mentality.
There's different parts to the game. I watch some guys, they play, and you can see how much fun they're having. You know? For some guys, it's not fun. It's like about respect. It's about dominance.
Yeah.
You know? And so, like, leaving sports was hard for sure. You know, I had 2 basketball scholarships.
Oh wow.
And it just didn't end up working out, bro. I was
well, like I think like once you're there, you got so one scholarship, okay, maybe I'm made for this, right? You got the second one. You'll be like, okay, I'm made for this thing. And then what made you leave the sport? Like, what was the reason? Because you're already there, right? 2
finances,
scholarships,
bro. That's the honest truth.
Oh.
Like my parents were, so I was gonna go play in the States. But playing as a Canadian in the States, you're an international student.
Yeah.
So school's already very expensive.
Yeah.
And
it is. Even right now.
And I wasn't even getting anywhere remotely close to like big scholarship packages. My mom was like, okay, we'll take out a line of credit, this and that. And I was like, what's the point of doing something when I already know I'm not going to be going professional?
Yeah.
Like, how do I repay a debt where
so you knew you were not that good, or you were like, okay, I might not make it?
With sports, bro, you can be really good, but to play professionally, you need to be in the top 1%.
Yeah, that's true.
Like in the NBA, there are only about maybe 150, 200 guys.
Yeah.
Think about how many people play basketball around the world.
Yeah, crazy.
Probably hundreds of millions.
100%, yeah.
So probably in the top 3 to 5 percentile. But it's not enough.
It's not enough, yeah.
And it was too big of a gamble for me. My parents work in the factories, bro. So I was like, they want to support me doing whatever.
Yeah.
You know? But for me, I was like, man, I don't want to see my parents like slave the rest of their life away just to watch me, you know? There has to be something more.
100%, yeah.
So initially I grieved, bro. It's like you lose, it's like I lost a
part of you.
Or somebody important to me.
Yes, yeah.
You know?
That's
like empty.
Yes, that's
but it brought me on another journey because I was like, oh bro, like
it takes time though, right? To switch from one place. How old were you when you decide to, I'm gonna leave the sport?
I was 19. That's when, because that was that year where I either decide, okay, like I play and I take this serious, or there's no in betweening certain, it's either you go 100% or you don't. Bro, I didn't pick up a basketball for almost like 6-7 years, bro. Rage, so angry, but that's what grief looks like.
Griefs, yeah.
When we lose something that's important to us, man, men, we're stupid. We're smart guys, but the way that we behave sometimes, we think we're in control and we're really not in control.
Yes, that's true.
So it was a blessing in the long run.
Long run, yeah.
Because, there's more to my identity than just basketball. And that has been so beautiful.
Yes.
Because when you're playing sports, bro, or when you're doing music or whatever, you're locked into one world.
That's true.
So much happening around you, but I'm only connecting with sports, only connecting with music, and it taught me to diversify.
Yeah.
You know.
You're speaking my language, because same with the music. I was so passionate about music. I am still,
Yeah.
but that time I was like crazy. Like, what my dream was, I want to be the number one DJ in the world. Right now
Yeah.
it's Martin Garrix. Right? He's been there for like 10 years. But my mind was so crazy. I'm like, I want to beat that guy. And now I understand, like, okay, maybe in this life it's not possible. Maybe it is if I try it. But if you think it practically, it takes a lot of
Yeah.
time. Because that guy was born in Netherlands. He has the surrounding, he has the foundation, right? EDM music. That's in the blood. Same like us for cricket. We used to play cricket like crazy as a child. And as you say, right? Okay, it takes a lot of time to get out of that part.
Yeah.
It's been there, you've been thinking so crazy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make it. And suddenly everything falls apart, and you're like, oh damn, maybe I'm not cut out for this.
Or who am I?
Who am I? Yeah. That was the bigger question for me, because for me, I was so concentrated on one thing.
Yeah.
I want this to be done, this to
Yeah.
be done. And I was not good at anything else other than that. And then I realized I came to Canada. Canada teaches you a lot. A lot.
Oh, I
Like,
bet. Yeah.
it's like, I didn't know how to cook back in India.
Yeah.
Not even how to make chai. Now I know how to cook.
Yeah.
I can survive by my own. So that's kind of a blessing.
Yeah.
Long run, it is a blessing. But for that time, like 19 is like age where you can't be that clear in your life. That's crazy, because when I was 19, I was going after girls. That's it. For real. I think I had a girlfriend. I don't even remember. Yeah. So it was all about her. Not even the music. I was just
Yeah.
about her. So how were you so clear about, okay, 19, I'm not gonna play? Because that was so close to your heart. Still it is, right? If I'm not wrong.
Honestly, bro,
clarity, like how can you be that clear?
it wasn't clear. I was just angry.
Oh,
You know?
Yeah.
And I was angry for so many reasons. I was angry that we were poor. I was angry that I couldn't continue. Bro, playing sports to me is like people dancing. If it's freeing. It's the only time I think clearly, you know? The world slows down.
Yeah.
And yeah, would I be lying if I said like there are other peripheral parts of sports that enhance my life? Sure. Like being in high school while being an athlete, great time.
Yeah.
You know?
I get it. Yeah.
Access to everything.
Everything,
right?
Yeah.
But I
just to make it clear, can you like elaborate what was it? Like access to what other things you're saying?
Yeah. Other people. You know, in high school, it's very silly, right? We have these popular kids and the not popular kids.
You mean girls, right? Basically.
Just people, bro.
People, okay.
You know? So I got to like hang out. Like all the volleyball guys knew me, all the track guys knew me, all these guys. And these are all people that are very like have a lot of social currency.
Yeah, that's true.
So then it enhanced my value. Right? So then I walk around school. I have a school of like 3,000 people. Maybe I know 150, 200 people, but all 3,000 people know me.
Knew me, yeah.
You know? So you walk with a little bit of an ego, bro. I had an inflated head, you know, chasing women and all this stuff. And it's like, whatever. It's like, the reality is, it was probably best for me to like leave that stuff. Like, and then I'm not, listen, I love the game. Like every day, 6-7 hours, the game, you know?
Yeah.
That was my passion.
Yeah.
And it was my time away, bro. It was like really like, but with that all being said, the clarity came with, I was just making a whole bunch of really bad choices.
Yes.
You know?
19, you can't expect to make like good choices, right?
Once my parents were like, once I like dropped the basketball thing, things got so hectic. My mom was like, you need to go live with your cousin.
Oh.
That's when I was like, okay, I need to turn my life around.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see their mom cry, bro. You know?
So like, what was the chaos? Like, why did they tell you to, move to your cousin's house?
I was being an idiot. So like, again, as an athlete, at that age, barely drinking. In fact, never. Maybe once or twice, right? Never smoking.
Okay.
And then I was like, yo, like, let me feel what this life is like a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm allured.
Yeah.
There's a calling, you know? Smoking a lot of weed.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's very popular here in Canada.
Yeah.
It's
now it's legal though.
Yeah. but it wasn't.
It
when
wasn't,
I was, you know. And then imagine having immigrant parents. I might as well have been doing heroin at that point. Like, they wouldn't have made any difference, you know.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy.
Coming home, I smell. My parents are like, they know that I'm like talking to girls. They were just like, "What's going on with you, bro? Like, what are you doing in your life?
You're wasting a life in a way."
Yeah, there's no purpose. It's very shallow. You know, no connection to God, your culture, this and that. And my cousin, beautiful human being, young woman at the time. She must have been like 27, 28, 29. She's like, "Come live with me." She just got married, and her husband took care of me, bro.
Wow.
They got me back into school. I dropped out of school at that point.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So you were at the bad place, quite bad place, you know.
Yeah,
dropping
like very
out of school and
typical teenager shit, you know, like
typical,
maybe untypical
if you say,
for our culture,
our
household.
culture, it's not. Yeah, people will go crazy back in India if you do that, right?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to do that. Like not even, you can't even think about that stuff. Okay, mom, I'm feeling not good. I'm gonna leave the school. I'm not gonna do that. Not allowed to say anything, right? Back in India, it is very strict. Not my parents.
Yeah.
My parents are quite cool, but they allow me to do music. They give me like a year and a half to figure out, and I fucked up. I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I still don't know the reason, but maybe it's a good choice. I didn't go for that thing, right? Because then I would be playing somewhere around in my hometown, Vadodara, maybe 31st party, and that's it. Won't be figuring out the stuff, won't be doing this, won't be meeting you. So this is like a blessing. But back in India, yeah, people are struggling a lot back in India.
For sure.
We are blessed. Like I'm freaking blessed to be sitting over here.
Oh yeah,
right?
Bro. Yeah.
Because in India, it's people don't even have money for a food, one-time food, right?
Yeah.
So what they're making this decision, like, okay, mom, I'm not gonna study, I'm not gonna do that. They're not gonna support you. They're gonna beat the shit out of you.
For sure, bro.
But over here, your parents are quite good, you know, supporting you in this phase as well. They knew you won't be okay over here. So did you change the city, or you were like?
I was still in Toronto.
Okay.
Like, just moved. My cousin lived on another part of the city.
Okay. Yeah.
So maybe like 30, 40 minutes from my mom's house.
Okay.
And then she enlisted me in I was 20 when I graduated high school, bro. Usually people are like 17, 18, you know? But it was good. Because it was like, it really made me reflect and think about, okay, what do I want to do for my life?
Yeah.
How do I make an impact? How do I live a life that's meaningful, beautiful, that's authentic to me, not what somebody else wants, not what somebody's scripting for me? That's a lot of pain, bro. Like, it's like the lifestyle that I was living was just me running away from the pain and not knowing how to deal with the pain.
Yeah.
You see?
That's true.
A lot of men, we internalize. So we hold everything here.
Here, yeah. It's everything away.
But then subconsciously, everything in here that's not good, or heavy, comes out in different ways, bro.
Mostly in anger, if I'm not wrong.
Shame.
Shame, yeah. Shame is one thing.
Worry. You know, like, what is my life going to turn out to be? Whatever. And so, in reflection, in retrospect, it's all what I was doing was just numbing myself, not allowing myself to think about the future, the past, but just being in the present moment.
Yeah, while doing drugs and everything, right?
Very questionable things, like very silly things, but very typical for teenagers here in Canada. You know,
yeah, for sure.
So that's it, bro. And then I like one day at that school, there's an alternative education school. So we have schools here in Canada we call alternative education.
Okay.
Where it's set up very like you have 2 classes a day, you chill, whatever.
Oh, nice.
Bro, I came across, number one, the principal for that school. There's only about 15 kids in that school.
Okay.
They take
15? That's
15 of the worst kids in the city.
So you were one of them?
Yeah. Well, my cousin and I went to each high school that was in the area.
They
would not take me in.
They won't take you.
You know?
Because of the grades and your history?
Grades, history, transcript, the amount of absences. Like,
so they just see all of
these schools are already dealing with their own crap. They're like, we don't need another one in here. They're out of capacity, you know? So
what was your parents' reaction on that time? I'm more talking about the parents because I want to know about the immigrant parents over here.
Bro, they were worried, man. My mom was praying every day. My mom prays every day anyways.
Yeah.
You know, but like, man, she was like going to the temple, like going to like everything that she could do, you know? Praying. Yeah. My dad tried to give me a lot of advice. My brother, ironically, 7 years younger than me, in med school right now. But seeing his success,
Oh, yeah.
they were very like, man, this kid can do it.
Yeah.
We just need to give him a way to like believe it himself.
Believe in it,
Yeah.
And give you the space as well, right? You're not living with them, and you later on figure out how to deal with all the stuff.
Well,
right?
my mom had asked me, that was the most like wild thing. She didn't say leave. She said, listen, I think this would be better for you. Do you want to do this?
That's a tough,
Yeah,
that's a tough thing to do, because once you're at your home and your parents says that, you fucked up. You're at the bottom of everything.
Especially in our culture.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. It's deep shame. I couldn't, like, every time we go to a family event.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see my parents for like 2 years, bro.
Wow, that's wild. Yeah. Living in the same city,
Yeah.
just 30 minutes apart, and still not seeing them for the 2 years. Like, that's crazy. Back in India, it's common to shame people. So you're there, like, okay, somebody sees you, you might have gained some weight. They straight away tell you, okay, you're getting fat.
Yeah.
You're getting bold. You're not getting married.
Yeah.
I'm 28 right now, and I'm on the ideal age to get married. And once I go back to India, I know what's gonna come. And I'm like, okay, get married.
Yeah.
But over here, you're struggling this much, and like, you didn't talk to them at all, or you were like, okay, you were
very
talking
sparsely, bro. But it wasn't like at that point. I had there was a huge fire under my ass.
Yeah. So you were already back on track.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
So
once you got admission, then you realized, right?
So even while I was at the new school, I was messing around, because it's like there's all these kids that are drawn to different lifestyles, right? But they flooded me with marks. They're like, listen, Adi, you have high capacity to do some things. And one of the conditions for me to join that school was there was a social worker. His name was Tyler, young guy. Man, that guy changed my life, bro.
Oh, that's good.
And I didn't know anything about therapy. I didn't know anything about social work. I didn't know nothing. All I know is that I really respected this guy.
Yeah.
He was a good guy. He was helping young people turn their lives around, and he was making money out of it.
Oh, that's a golden
And I didn't think about it, bro. I let it go. I was like, oh, this guy's very cool.
Yeah.
Then I went to go pursue my first degree. And I went overseas for a little bit, lived overseas, came back, and I was like, thought of that guy, and I was like, you know what? That is a life where I can bring out the best parts of me, utilize my best qualities, and if I can go to bed knowing each night, knowing that I'm facilitating some kind of change in the world, for the betterment of young people, young men,
basically.
Yo, let me do it, man. And that's when I started really believing. I was like, oh, everything that I've kind of been through, had purpose.
Yeah.
I was meant to go on this path. In Tamil we say vidhi, bro. Vidhi is just fate.
Fate, yeah.
Now my parents and I, we laugh. And it was like, it was meant to be.
But I think you are a stronger person, because some people will stay in that mess. Some people will just stay in that mess. Okay, so that you might have also think this way, right? My parents left me. Okay, even they don't want me. I'm gonna fuck up my whole life now.
Yeah.
But you turn around. You did something else, and I want to talk more about the guy.
Yeah.
Like how you got inspired by the guy, right? You just saw him. Okay, was money a thing? Was like, okay, helping people, as you said, right? You wanted to be a purposeful thing, but also money is one of the driven part. Yeah, like, okay, the guy is also making a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
I'm not wrong. Therapists make a lot of money. I don't know how much you make. I know your car. I've seen your car. You're making a quite good amount of money, right?
Yeah. I'm like, respectfully and humbly, I'm doing well, bro.
Okay.
The money, like, I worked in community for most of my
How
time.
long did it take to make you the first dollar in this thing?
Well, I started, bro. Oh my gosh. The first dollar was minimum wage for like this kind of work.
Yeah, this kind of. Yeah,
that was like 2016. It's like almost like 10 years ago now. 2015, 10 years ago.
And the work that you put in before that, how many years?
I've been working since I was probably like 13, 14, bro.
Oh,
first job at Tim's.
No, not about the Tim's. I get it. Like, people work in Tim's as well, but especially in therapy.
So specifically therapy, like community work that wasn't directly therapy, because I didn't have the qualifications yet.
Yeah.
So 2015, 2016.
Okay.
$14 an hour. That was minimum wage.
Yeah.
But strictly like therapy, I would say probably 2012 2019. Took me about
09.
5-6 years to establish myself.
Okay.
Get the credentials, all that stuff,
But that guy made a lot of change in you as well, like a personal change as well.
You know what?
Was he like a therapist to you?
I didn't even know he was doing therapy, bro.
Mm.
All I knew was like, I was like, this guy believes in me more than I believe in myself. This guy sees qualities in me that I don't see, but he's right. Like I respect what he's, and so I was like, okay. They gave me the steam to go into the world and say, oh, I can do something.
Yeah. Just needed a path, so you got onto the path, right?
Yeah, and they were simple conversations, bro. They weren't like, it wasn't I was in an office having like very extended. It was like he would take me out to Tim's, sit with me, He's like, so like, I would be so hard on myself. That inner critic, so shameful of some of the things that you've done.
Yeah.
He goes, yo, bro, like, who hasn't done these things? Who hasn't made mistakes?
That's true.
Clearly you care. You're trying to do better. Like, let it out. Like, let it out,
100%. That's true. But what's inside, like, we're so surrounded by ourselves. Like, for me as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just sit and like, I wasted my 28 years doing nothing. You sit there and once again, we haven't touched upon the God yet, but I think God will send somebody like you, because we just met in a convenience store and we had a chat, and now we are sitting here talking about the life. This is beautiful. This is the beauty of life once you're on the right path, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Once you're doing what you really like, but I'm still figuring out the stuff, okay, is this really I want to do? Because I feel the passion, but sometimes the regret do come back. Like for me, it's like I don't want to approach it as I approach the music. I want to approach this as a more practical way. Okay, I might do this might work out. So was that the same thing with you? Like you left the sport, but the sports person you knew, right, is gonna be there. So will that, like, does that affect you anywhere around your life right now?
No, bro. Like, it's like I've made peace with it, And the beautiful thing is that, like, I'll never forget it, bro. It's like breathing. Every Friday I play basketball in a league, yeah?
Yeah.
Man, I'll never forget it, bro. Like, it's so natural. It's literally like breathing. Yeah. Swimming's the same way for me.
Yeah.
I don't have to swim for like 30 years. I'll jump back in the water and I'll be fine. Just feels natural, But it's helped, because what do a lot of young men like, bro? They like music, they like sports, they like art.
Yeah.
So then how do I, if I'm working with you therapeutically, how do I use that as leverage points to like foster understanding? Once you feel like you're under, like, once you know, okay, Adi understands my POV, the way that I go through life, we could get real creative about how we're gonna flip some things around. Tiny little adjustments, Here's the thing, bro. Like, no guarantee anything's gonna be perfect. No guarantee anything is gonna work out.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to have the balls to pursue something.
Yeah. For real.
We talked about it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Everybody makes it seem like chasing your dreams is this like easy overnight thing. Bro, it's the scariest shit ever. Right?
Yeah.
All the failures, you internalize so much more. You do something that you don't care about and you don't do it well, you're like, whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
You put your all into something and it doesn't work out.
Oh, that's gonna break you.
It's gonna crush you.
Crush you, yeah, for sure.
But that's how you build resiliency, bro.
In a way, I did.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You build a backbone. This world, bro, it's cold.
It is.
It's cold. It's a cold world, bro.
Cold world, yeah.
No matter where you are, whether you're in Canada, like whether you're in India, like doesn't matter where you are. You need a backbone. You need to be strong. There was a commercial that we used to watch all the time. It was a Dwayne Wade basketball commercial, and it's just the mantra is very simple: fall 7 times, get up 8. Man, nothing is gonna move me in this world. Am I gonna be perfect? No. Am I gonna do things absolutely correctly? No. But I'm gonna build a life that is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
I figured it out, and I'll use the analogy of a book, right? Brother, if every single year of our life is a chapter, man, the book that I'm gonna read is not this prince who wakes up rich, marries a princess, becomes a king. Like, that's a boring story.
Boring story, yeah.
But the book that I will read, the movie I will watch, the guy was at the top or the guy was at the bottom.
Yeah.
And it looks like this.
Yeah.
And even if you die here,
Yeah.
there's all these points.
Yeah.
Almost like a sine graph.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the peaks and the valleys
Yeah.
where meaning is made, bro.
100%.
You know?
Mostly on the bottom.
we chase like happiness as if it's a drug. Like we're trying to get ecstasy all the time.
All the time, yeah.
Bro, but being happy all the time, not saying that it's not great.
But you can't be happy all the time, right?
Even if you could, I wouldn't want it. Like, I want to experience everything.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced feeling shame. I've experienced feeling anger. I've experienced feeling worried. I feel all this stuff, being jealous, this and that.
Yeah, 100%.
So then now when I'm like happy, I can appreciate it all more.
Yeah.
It's meaningful, bro. Like, it's like the beauty about humanity is that we can experience everything.
Everything, yeah.
You know? And look at the gods. Maybe this is the transition. Like, in Hinduism, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
I've seen Shiva rage, bro.
Yeah.
You know? And I've seen him cool, calm, and collected, brother.
Yeah.
That is human existence, man. It's like, it's not trying to be perfect. It's accepting you as exactly who you are.
Perfect.
Your emotions are cool, bro. Feel everything. But how you decide to move, like, I can be angry, you can be angry. That's fine, brother. But if I decide to break some shit, if I decide to hurt you because I'm angry, that's not cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's not cool. But like, for example, like, I'm talking about the sports more because you are a sports person. I've seen one of the very best bowler in the world. His name is Daleson. I know you don't watch cricket, but like he's a top guy. He was top guy, right? And if I remember, it was 2015, where because of him, his team lost the semifinals. And before that, his stats were like, oh, he was number one bowler for like 5 years. After that, his stats went down. So for most of the part, it was a reason for the injury. He got the shoulder injury, right? But I've seen one of the interviews where he's talking about, okay, that was the reason, but also over here, like that loss, he couldn't cope up with it. Like right now also, he was talking about it, he got a bit emotional. So as a sports person, if something like this affects you this much, like mental health is, for the men won't talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? For you, for me, what I'm going through, I won't talk about it openly. And if I do, people will feel like, okay, he's just a weak guy. Like, basically mental health is equal to weakness in this world. What I personally feel, what I've seen, right? Not over in Canada, more in India.
For sure.
If you talk about, okay, I'm going through something, okay, I'm going to a therapist, and they're like, okay, so basically you are mad, basically you don't know your shit, basically you are not made for this society, right? You're downright. And I've seen a friend so closely with one of my close person, and they treat you like nothing. Even if you make money, even if you're there on the pedestal, like everything you have it, still if you're not clear from here, they feel like, okay, you just got lucky, right? So mental health, something we need to focus more on for men's health, right? Women, they have everything, right? I'm not going to talk about the feminism and stuff like that. I want to, but I'm going to keep a barrier on that one. But men's health, recently there was an incident in Bangalore. The guy committed suicide because of alimony, and the wife was not treating him well. He posted like 2 hours long video, everything on internet. Everyone went crazy. Okay, support. Now nothing. Everything is shuttered down. And there were some women talking about the same thing, that okay, men are supposed to be man up. That's the word, like even in Hindi, even in English, like, come on man up, right? So they will never talk about their mental health, right? Even if they're going through some shit times, they won't talk about that to their best friend as well. I feel like I do care about the people judgment right now as well.
For sure.
For example, if somebody comments something shit on this video, I'll care about that for at least a day.
Yeah. Listen, brother, let me tell you something. Like, I think one of the best things that you have is your ability to feel, bro. Yeah, maybe you feel like a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Which can be like overwhelming and annoying and frustrating. You know, I always say this, like, I'm the best overthinker because I feel so much, you know? But what a boring world it would be to not feel at all. And like, men previous generations, they're so hard and stiff.
Yes, yes.
But that's because the world was even colder back in the day. Bro, it's hard living in our bodies, bro. Like, you know what I mean? The world's tailored for the white man. Everything from like looks, attractiveness, culture, food, everything, language.
Yeah.
You know? Social currency is derived off your proximity and affinity to whiteness.
For real, yeah. It's crazy. Like, yeah, I know, right? It's crazy.
And
everywhere.
And our parents, bro, our grandparents, they grew up in a different time, brother. My dad was born in 55. Yeah? Just after 10 years after World War II. Into the post-Cold War era. That means my parents, my grandparents, not only did they live through the Civil War in Sri Lanka, but they saw World War I and World War II, bro.
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
War, yeah.
All they knew was just like survival. Bro, the thing that you talked about with your dad, you might not necessarily be going through the same thing, but you feel it. It's visceral.
Yes.
Bro, that's intergenerational, brother. And it's hereditary, you know? Hereditary just means that biologically some of the genes are passed down through us.
Yes.
And they're going to go to your offspring too. Potentially. Yeah? No guarantee, but potentially, depending on how the chromosomes line up and whatever.
Okay, so for example, if somebody's parents have a depression.
Sure.
He or she can have depression.
Yeah, but like let's actually like unpack this. So what does depression, clinical depression, okay? There's a big difference between feeling depressed and having clinically depressed.
Okay. So clinically depressed, you mean you have to take medicine to just operate?
Yeah, we call them SSRIs in Canada.
Okay.
Long story short, there's a chemical compound. It's called serotonin.
Okay.
Okay? It's a natural compound that the brain produces, and it's our ability to feel joy. Yeah?
Okay.
Well, if there is a deficit in that, well, damn, bro. Even the little things can be very hard. It might be hard getting out of bed. It might be hard brushing your teeth. It might be hard grooming yourself. Simple things. Yeah? It might be hard moving your body. But there are these deficits that the rest of the world will be like, yo, this guy is lazy.
Yes.
But that's not the case, bro. How do I tell you that I'm in so much pain when I can't even identify that this is, it becomes so normal.
Normal to the guy who is in depression.
Yeah, it's like your everyday. It's like, oh, I've just woken up and lived like this. How do you know something's wrong when we don't even talk about it?
That's true.
You don't have the ability. We call it emotional literacy in the therapeutic world, okay? But if you don't have the ability to say, I am feeling X, Y, and Z, beyond mad, tired, sad, and happy, like what's underneath that?
Yeah.
You know? If you don't have that, if you can't identify what the problem is, how do you work towards a solution?
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
So number one, chemically, there's nothing wrong, bro. Like it's not a deficit. It's just the way that our bodies are manufactured. Yeah? So some people have to take some medication, bro. Whatever, it is what it is. But then there are other ways to supplement it too. Music, like your passions, doing things that make you feel alive, for lack of a better words.
But if you are in depression, like I've seen people leave the stuff they like.
Yeah, that's very typical. Yeah. And in that moment, listen, bro, we talked about this like in our convenience store chat. Yeah. Typically, okay, just answer this for me, just very surface level. Okay. When you're sad, yeah, when you're feeling very down, what do you tend to do, bro?
Isolation.
Yeah. You withdraw. Yeah. But what do you need?
I think men around the world will do that.
People around the world. People. Men, women, I don't care. Women are a lot more like in tune. Yeah. And I'll say that without shame, bro. They're a lot smarter than we are. That's the honest truth, bro. That's that's baseline. That is what it is. What do you need when you're saying, so you isolate and you withdraw?
Yeah.
That is our behavior. But what do you need though?
Support, maybe.
Connection,
love. Yeah. Love. Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying, bro? We're in control and not in control all at the same time. We're obviously behaving in a way that is hurting ourselves in the long run.
Yeah.
But if you don't realize and take time to figure out these patterns, how do you fix it? Yeah. So it's like almost like you got to do the opposite thing of what it is, those big emotions. Okay. You're angry. Let's use another example.
Yeah.
What typically happens when you're feeling like 10 out of 10 angry? How do you behave?
I'll start destroying something around me. Yeah.
Yelling, maybe saying things that...
Screaming and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. What's the opposite of all of that?
Peaceful.
So calmness.
I'm
maybe just zipping your mouth a little bit. Yeah. Maybe moving your body instead of throwing things.
Yeah.
But you see how like that will serve you a lot better than what you're quote unquote programmed to do?
Yeah.
you're feeling anxious. Yeah? Let's say you're anxious about the next video that you want to upload.
Yes.
Because you care about it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You put a lot of pressure, right?
Yes.
Have you ever avoided the things that you know that you need to do? And I mean by avoid by like delaying.
Some days, yeah. Yeah, I try my best to, nowadays I try my best to, figure out things on the time. But yeah, I do.
And what's the opposite of delaying?
Everything.
Just doing it.
Doing it. Yeah.
Right? Bro, anxiety's main feature is that we just run away.
Yeah.
We disassociate.
Yeah.
But the way to work through it is the opposite thing. But if you know all of these things, you can help yourself. But most men, young men too, like now the generation's starting to shift a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Increase in knowledge, people are actively seeking out therapy, whatever it might be. But if I just give you the baseline of, okay, do the opposite of what you are feeling. So you don't want to shower, you don't want to brush your teeth. I know it's very hard, but how do you think you will feel after? Great. Will you have a little bit of increase in motivation that can go into other domains of your life?
100%.
Okay, so good. So we figured that piece out. Then we go to eating, bro. We start about eating. Okay, well, we talk about how spiritual food is. So if you're feeling lonely, you're in Canada, you're thousands of kilometers away from mom and dad in your culture. Yeah, maybe instead of having a Big Mac, if you make some sambar and rice, or have some idli or chicken curry, whatever. Not only are you nourishing your spirit, but you feel connected to your people at home, right?
Interesting, yeah.
So then there's the food piece. Then we start to monitor sleep. How can you think? Your mood is very much impacted and your feelings and all this stuff by food and sleep. So if you're only averaging 2 hours a night, yeah, or you're going to bed at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., or you're going to bed at 7 a.m. A lot of people, bro, when they're feeling like depressed, will typically stay up the whole night and then go to bed in the morning. Why? Because you're running away from the day, trying to preserve this right now.
Yeah.
Night feels so good because I don't have to worry about the next day.
Yes.
Let me maximize this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. So then we figure out a sleep schedule. How do we maximize your sleep if it's already, then we start talking about exercise. Therapeutic terms, we call it behavior activation. All it just means is we're going to exhaust yourself to the point where your brain and body are tired.
And you just go to bed and sleep.
And then it's consistency, brother. Nothing's going to change overnight. Nothing ever changes overnight.
That's true.
But our brains are beautiful. Our brains are magnificent, in fact. We have pathways. We have these highways in our brain. Habits are formed. Yeah? Old habits die hard. But it doesn't mean that we can't break them. It takes about 30, 40 days for these pathways to form in our head.
Yeah.
You start going to the gym for the first time, typically what you'll hear a lot of guys say is leg day is brutal. Leg day is the worst day.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And then you avoid it. And then you see all these guys that are like
jacks.
And then just small legs.
They're small legs, yeah.
And I understand it, right? Here's the thing. You keep doing your legs, the less and less scary it becomes.
Yes.
The more fun it becomes. Yeah? Is it going to suck? Yeah, sure. Are you going to feel great after? Probably. Are you going to lift more because your legs are getting bigger? Definitely. Right? Same idea, bro. And the more you do it, the less fearful it becomes. Yeah, you know that it's going to be a hard session. You're going to have to do deadlifts. You're going to do squats. You're going to do Bulgarian squats, whatever. Yeah? But there's a firm belief in your brain that the neurons, the pathways have been created where, yes, this might suck, but I'm really going to benefit from this.
But how you reach that point? Like, for example,
so
you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay, step by step.
Yeah.
Last, you're talking about the gym, right? But depression, like if you have a borderline depression, people, they do stuff, doing all this, but still they are feeling depressed, right? As you said, going to gym, shower, everything. They can do that all that
you're
stuff.
Right.
You're with the family. You have a children. You're smiling with other people as well, especially with the men. Men, you see them smiling. You see your brother smiling. You see your best friend smiling, right? But I've seen so many people like you might have seen videos, right? One day before that, they're smiling, they're enjoying, and the other day, they're suicide.
Yeah.
They do suicide.
Okay, let me be very clear, Shivam, when I say all those things I was talking about, just like monitoring sleep, food, this and that, I'm not saying it's going to fix anything. I'm saying it's a great place to start. No guarantee any of this will work. I do guarantee, though, if we stay at it for 30 days, even if it's 1% better, I'd rather you feel 1% better than 1% worse.
100%.
Everything is step by step.
Yeah.
Right? For us, bro, like, for racialized men, I don't care where you're from, whether you're from China, whether you're from Angola, Whether you're from Antarctica, Mexico, Canada, I don't give a shit, bro. If you're racialized, bro, like what you need, in my opinion, community healing, brother. You got to find your community. And I don't know what that is. You know, for you, it might be going to the temple.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, maybe it's boxing. For the next guy, maybe it's basketball. For the next guy, maybe it's making music. For the next guy, maybe it's spending time with his nieces and nephews. You know, but you need a sense of belonging, a sense of acceptance, and love.
Yeah.
And that will curate belief. Like really, bro, is like there needs to be hope. Hope that you'll be able to make it through the next day. And once you make it to the next day, then I can make it to the next.
Nice. Yeah.
Don't overcomplicate therapy, bro. I don't like with therapy, there's one way to do it, and it's very rigid, and it's in an office, and let me tell you about all of the things that you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Or we can be very real and say, this is not the shit that I need. Yeah? But how do I curate moments of meaning in my life? Okay, well, you're the only one with the answer. So let's pick it out together. You know? So it's not coming to therapy, bro. It's not like I'm gonna change your life. No. Like all it is like, Shivam, if this is you, brother,
yeah,
I'm just up here, bro.
Yeah.
And so as you're saying things, I am noticing patterns and themes, and then I frame them in questions and throw it back at you. And you explore and we unpack. I have the tools to help you unpack, but ultimately the answers are in you. But you just need to have a little bit of courage to go in and be ready to work through some big feelings.
Yeah.
But the reason why therapy actually works, you need to find somebody that understands you, bro.
That's right.
Your way of living, your beliefs, you know, and somebody that champions you, makes you believe. I was talking about that guy Tyler earlier.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything other than be like, man, I wish you had the same amount of belief that I have in you for yourself.
That's a big thing, yeah. When you're down out, you need somebody to, just tell you.
Just stand by my side. Yeah. Just stand by my side, bro. That's it. You know? And then we have to actively make decisions, bro. Like unlearning is very hard.
Yeah, that's true.
Learning is hard. Unlearning is harder, bro.
Yeah, it's hard. It's quite hard.
They say old habits die hard. It's hard, bro. You know?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if there's like every single person's going to look different the way I do the work. There could be 10 people with depression, and I'm going to have 10 different ways to go about doing this.
Okay.
Yeah?
You have any patterns? Like, for example, you might have like young men coming to you, right? Do they have any patterns in them? Like, okay, this is the same kind of pattern. Almost not everyone, but majority of the men.
Yeah, bro. It's like one thing is like that's very common is like there's like a lack of meaning in the things that you once found very beautiful.
Yes.
But to the point where it's like, I don't find meaning in anything.
Yes.
Sleep is usually a pretty big indication.
If you're not able to sleep or you're not sleeping.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay. Eating, like dietary choices, whether you're eating or not. Some people overeat, some people undereat. And then the connection piece. How much are you reaching out to your people? We all go through it, bro. We all go through it in different ways. Yeah. And in Canada, it's really hard. The winter's horrible.
Horrible, yeah.
It's dark, man.
It's dark.
And again, we get a lot of like value in life from the sun. The sun actually does a lot for us.
That's true.
It gives us the dopamine, the vitamin D, all of these things that we go through our day to day that gives us the motivation, the energy. And then when it's 6 months dark, bro, it's a cold world, man. Cold world, yeah. So you got to do things that like typically you want to stay inside. It's nice, it's cold. You're like, nah. But I guarantee you, like you go to a national park or you go to like here, like Dundas Conservation. Yeah. You go on an hour walk with your friends. You'll feel so much better than staying the whole day inside, the whole weekend inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody, bro. We just have to find what it is for each person. There are telltale signs.
Okay.
For everything.
Okay.
Or for a lot of things.
When is the time you feel like, okay, I've seen one common trend as well. Sorry, I forgot to talk about that. So once you're depressed, like for example, the guy is depressed. he knows it. So will your sexual energy go down?
I think it depends on the person, bro. Because it's
Okay.
like some people use sex as a means to cope,
Mm.
right? Like sex is very like enjoyable, intimate.
Mm.
So it's like at least in the moment, I feel alive. So some people might go
Overdo
towards
it.
it,
Yeah.
you know, and maybe for some people they 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 go on the other end and they don't. They
Yeah.
feel like their sex drive is diminished.
Okay.
It looks very like every single one of us is going to deal with things very differently.
True.
You know, the next guy might run to substances, run to the bottle, run to like the marijuana, like all the time. The moment there's any problem, like I'm not saying there's a problem drinking or smoking, whatever, but anytime there's a problem, if that's what you're doing, we got to figure some things out. And it's not a bad thing. It's just this is the solution that you have in this current moment.
Okay.
Let's add to the list of solutions that you have.
Okay.
You know?
So that's not common, right? Because I've heard people say this, because once they're depressed, they're starting medicine.
Yeah.
They don't like sex anymore.
Sure.
And sex is something, as you said, right? You feel happy while doing it, but some people just cut them off. They'll do everything in their life properly, but no sex. And that can, obviously, if you're in relationship, if you have somebody closer to you,
Sure.
like your partner, right? So that breaks up between them as well, right? So I feel like a lot of men are going through that shit, but they don't talk about it, because sex is something so personal. They won't just go to their friends like,
Yeah, for sure.
I can't sex, like I don't want to do sex, and they'll be like, okay, making fun of them. Come on, man, like sex is a good thing. But once you're depressed, you don't feel like doing sex. So is there any way you can cope up with that as well? Like, is there medicine is the only option you have, or
Bro, medicine's always the last option that I have.
last option?
For me, it's like, listen, if it's like there's a chemical compound that's missing in your body, you need it. Cool. Listen, I'm not anti-medication. My brother's a doctor. You know, I'm pro. But let's try all these other methods first before we actually put these things into our body.
Okay.
You know, the thing is, bro, it's like I can't give you an answer for that. It really depends, bro. There's a lot underneath why that's not happening. You know, I think like this. Let me break down therapy like in a way that like this is, if there's anything that I want any young man to hear, like take time interviewing your therapist. Just because you go to a doctor doesn't mean it's the doctor for you.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're so used to this guy's an expert. Okay, we should accept what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the expert of your own life, Shivam. Yeah. But the thing is like me and you, if I'm your therapist, the only way we can work together is if you feel like you're understood, I know your story. Yeah. Yeah. And I understand your culture. All of these little things, bro. You know what I mean? So therapy, like, there's a million different ways to do it, but I'll be very clear. Like, social work and therapy is very whitewashed, bro. Very, very, very whitewashed.
I see.
You know, it doesn't need to be in an office, brother. You know who the best social workers are? Mothers, grandmothers, uncles. They might not have the formal language to it. Bro, they've been taking care of people for millennia.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
People always say in our culture, we don't know mental health. We don't talk about mental health. I think that's bullshit. You know how my mom deals with mental health, bro? Faith, brother.
Faith, yeah.
You know? She's a farm girl. She grew up on the farm. So, like, for me, like, we pray to the sun. We pray to all these gods and goddesses. You know? That's how she finds faith, bro. My mom and dad have been through it. That older generation has been through it. You know?
Harder time than what we are seeing right now. Right?
Yeah. And not saying, like, one is harder than the other. Yeah. Every life is different. But for her, bro, like, faith, like, that is therapy. You know? For you, it can be music. Yeah. You know?
Innovative. Yeah.
Like, all it is, at the end of the day, when we internalize, when we keep things in here, they come out in different ways. But the science has proven, like, psychologically, when you take, like, these brain scans, externalizing, bringing it out in any way, talk therapy.
Yeah. Writing it.
Yeah. Journaling, running, whatever it might be, okay? I don't give a shit. But externalizing, we can literally start to see how the brain just starts to ground and relax. The brain's very smart, bro. We just have to give it opportunities. My thing, what I would encourage, even if you don't want to go to therapy, who cares? Build that mind-body connection. The only person that knows yourself is you.
Is you, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, all I can do is like help you unpack a couple of things. I will ask you the right questions. Ultimately, you're going to be the one deriving to the same answer. Yeah?
Yeah.
So like,
you know your answer, but you just
no, I don't. I'm here.
Yeah.
And like, just to be very clear, like, me and you know each other a bit now.
Yeah.
I can never be your therapist.
Yeah.
Because now there's a bias. There's a lens of like,
oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
can't
know?
be my therapist now?
No.
Oh.
But if for example, like, you brought me a friend that I never knew, I could, because then I could answer completely non-judgmentally. I'm too much of your homie now. So there's going to be influence in my answer, you know?
Sense, yeah.
But somebody sees me, they start saying things. I'm like, oh, I've noticed this theme. I've noticed this pattern. I've noticed this. Okay, great. Now, let me redirect those same things that you're saying in a question.
Yeah.
And now you figure out the answer. My job is just to ask, like, pick apart the themes that I'm noticing, curate it in a way that makes you think. And if it goes somewhere, let's explore it. But like, I don't think you can do it when there's like
a bit of connection.
Yeah, because it's hard to stay unbiased, bro.
You'll become biased. Yeah.
I love my brother.
Yeah.
But I can never be his therapist. We're best friends. But I'm older than him by 7 years. So naturally, I want to be like, bro, the shit that you're doing is very stupid. Like, stop.
Yes.
But that's not what a therapist would say.
Yeah.
Maybe some therapists, you know?
Yeah.
Find somebody that's going to keep it real, bro. Like, you, respectfully, you going to see a white woman, what is she going to do for you? She can offer you some advice. Like, here's some behavior interventions. Yeah? Sure. Or, what's the difference between you going to a white woman? And I'm not taking anything away from white therapists, right? I want to be very clear. Like, everybody has something to offer.
100%, yeah.
Or what's the difference between you connecting with somebody like me? Or what's the difference between you connecting with an auntie who is a therapist that's from your culture? That
makes a lot of difference.
There's no judgment. Like, and if I can guarantee a space where there's no judgment, understanding, cultural appreciation, then we can start talking in ways that are like very authentic. You don't have to hide parts of yourself.
Yeah.
You know? Or assume that I'm being understood. You know?
Yeah. So that way, I think so, yeah. But I've seen, like, have you heard the recent case about the Bangalore guy? He committed suicide, right? Just because of alimony and stuff like that. And that breaks people's heart, right? But that guy, do you think, like, if he went to therapy and stuff like that, he would have been alive right now?
I don't know, man. Like, the thing is like, there's no guarantee that therapy is going to change anybody's life. Like, this is like, could it have helped? Yeah, very possibly, bro. Why not? Why not? You know? Like, I see somebody an hour once a week. And the expectation is that I'm supposed to help you? No, like, you are the driver. You are the catalyst. 99.9% is spent of your life is spent autonomous on your own. You come see me for 1 hour out of a week that has a couple hundred hours a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we do some great things? For sure. Yeah. And I don't want to undermine therapy either, but it's not the savior. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the end all. Just because somebody goes to therapy doesn't mean their life's going to be great. I can't guarantee that, bro. You know what I mean? It depends person to person.
Yeah.
I think culturally, I think we have to do a better job of showing up for each other. That's the honest truth. It's sense. Like, it's okay, bro. Like, we're boys. Like, we like to be like, we like to laugh. We're rowdy. Like, we make fun. Like, it's cool. But then there also needs to be a point where, like, we have to drop the idea that, like, we're incapable of feeling. Like, if you're smart enough to study, like, if there's discipline to study, there must be discipline to learn yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bro, like, nobody wants to see their friends suffer. If any of that guy's friends,
yeah. If they are, yeah.
You know, like, family, whatever, like, all of those people, if they could go back and ask him the questions or make him feel seen or whatever, they would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. Life's too precious, bro. You know what I mean? So I think it's a matter of just, like, what are we doing wrong? I think we got to start there, like, you know, and then you got to find it in a way that feels authentic, bro. Like the the way like maybe some cultures do therapy in a room, okay? But like, you ever been to the coil? Or sorry, I'm speaking Tamil. You ever been to the temple and sat around a bunch of people?
Yeah.
They're praying. Like, how healing is that?
Yeah, that is quite healing. Yeah.
What about going to like a family or a friend celebration where there's food and isn't that very intimate?
It is, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Eating on the ground on a banana leaf with some like really,
It is, yeah, but back in India, like many people, for example, if somebody is going through depression, right? He doesn't want to talk about it, right? Young guy, he's in 25,
Sure,
30.
yeah.
He's going through depression, right? He's overeating, he's stressed, so he's fat now,
Sure.
right? And instead of he's not gonna talk about that stuff to his family friends, and he goes to this ceremony, family ceremony, and everyone's gonna poke him, right? You're getting fat, you're this, you're this.
Yeah, fair.
You're not even winning in your life and stuff like that, right? So how can that person can get out of that thing? Like how is, like, it's hard. Like back in India, you can't go to therapy. He doesn't have money, for example. He doesn't have enough money to go there or to do stuff like that, and he knows he's depressed. How can that guy, without, he's getting judged every day by his family, friends, everyone? As you said, right? If they are a family, they'll help you, but still,
no guarantee.
No guarantee.
Yeah.
They're gonna poke you because if you are 28, 29 and you're still fucked up in your life, everyone's gonna judge you, right?
Sure.
But how can that person, that guy, can come out of that shield, right? Because same with this guy, he was married with this girl, and everyone, like, everything didn't work out. He did a suicide. It's not an option, right? But he was so stuck in that bubble. How can you break that bubble?
Bro, so I think it comes back to, again, like all those things that we talked about earlier, sleeping well,
Even if
eating
you're
well.
doing
Yeah,
all that, like he does all that,
yeah.
like everything, he's doing everything, but still he's not able to get out of it. What's the final thing he can do?
I don't know, man. It looks different for everybody, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, therapy is a good outlet. No guarantee. Like, yeah, there's so much value in coming to somebody who is a stranger, who's not going to judge you, who's going to just listen and give you the opportunity to just go blah. And then we can figure things out. Yeah? I see that, bro. But ultimately, like, the other hacks are biohacks.
Okay.
So moving your body, like exercise, eating good food, feeling spiritually connected to whatever it is, feeling connected to your culture, bro. Sexuality, whatever it might be. Like, there's no guarantee that you're not going to go through it. Just because you go to therapy doesn't mean anything. And just because you're not going to therapy doesn't mean that you can't heal yourself. I'm sick of the bullshit where it's like, oh, you have to go see a therapist, even if nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
From a therapist, my job is not to have you coming in week by week, every week. If you want to, great. But my job is like really like give you the skills so you can operate independently, And some people already have that, bro.
Yeah.
Can anyone benefit? Sure. Is it the end all be all? I don't know. That's the honest truth.
Yeah, that's uncertainty there, right? With everything, even if you're taking medicine, you still might not feel great.
Yeah.
I think the answer to this maybe somewhere around God. Maybe I feel like God is something. For example, I went through a bad phase, right? That time I had no one with me.
Yeah.
And then I went to God. Like, obviously, I started praying, and now I feel much better. Like, in a way, if I don't have to answer anyone, even if I don't have anyone, I know he or she is by my side.
For sure.
Right? So in our culture, it's good that we have faith and we have God and everything, right? That makes a lot of difference.
But you know what it is? It's like you found purpose and meaning.
Purpose, yeah.
And meaning.
Meaning, yeah.
And what do you get through that? Connection. A feeling of like being heard, validated, understood, whatever it might be. That's what people need, bro. Maybe it doesn't need to be God. It's gonna look different for everybody.
Yeah.
But people need to take the time to source like, what is it that's gonna help me feel like I'm doing the things that I need to do that make life super beautiful. Yeah. And that's it. Like, it's gonna look different, bro. Like,
for everyone, it's different.
yeah,
For everyone, it's different, right? But therapy is not the answer, as you're saying. You can do it by yourself as well.
it's a great tool.
Great tool.
It's a great tool. Like, I don't want to undermine it. Like,
but therapy is good, as we are saying. It is good.
Magnificent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Because back in India, nobody wants to go to therapists, as we said, right? But it's a great tool to start with.
Yeah, like why not? Like what's the harm in learning more about yourself? What is going to come out of that?
But people's gonna judge you. If I say
who needs to know?
But if I say if they get to know
yeah.
that you're going to therapist, then they'll treat you differently.
Okay, then here's my next question. I'm gonna swear here too. Okay, who gives a fuck?
Like people do. For me, for example, if I start therapy, if I tell my friend, and if they start judging me, I do give a fuck about them.
Yeah.
It's different for me to just open up about myself. It's hard to open up. Okay, I'm going to therapist and stuff like that. They are gonna judge me, and I've seen people. Even if I open up a bit, I've seen my homies react something different to me. Like no, that's not gonna happen. I never been through it, right? So that judgment does affect me. My friends, my family, that judgment does yeah. Back in India, you're so close to them, right? In same house, 5 people.
For sure.
And if you say that, they're gonna judge you and stuff like that. So it's hard for them to accept that fact.
For sure. Here's my thing, bro. It's like in life, right? You drive the ship. The moment you press the brakes, the car's not moving. The moment you press the gas, it's going. You got to build a life that's like meaningful for you. Like if we work on everybody else's expectations, we're going to be nobody. We're going to be projections of other people. And it's very scary, bro. I get it. Because in our culture, like community is everything. So the moment you're kind of labeled, it's not good.
Yeah, it's not.
I get it. But if you feel like this is going to help you become the person that you're going to become, you need to become, go do it. In our culture, you know what we're famous for, bro? We laugh at everyone who has a dream that doesn't align with the stereotypical, I got to do a lawyer, an engineer, a doctor, whatever it is. Yeah? Until you make it.
Yeah. Until you make it, you're like a king.
And then everyone's like, whoa, like this guy right here.
Yes.
I've been by this guy's side the whole time. Right? Bro, you got to be brave in life. And like part of, I think, being a human, being a man, is putting your foot down and saying, this is what I need. I'm going to do this for me, and watch, I'll show you,
Yeah.
Like, you have to be brave enough to know what you want. And the only person that knows,
it's you.
Mom and dad, bro, they always care for you.
Yeah.
They'll always love you.
100%.
In
most
cases.
In most cases. Yeah.
There are moments though where mom and dad don't know either.
Uncertainty.
These days I laugh, bro. My mom and dad have been great teachers. I'm also teaching them too. That's the funny thing, is that like the moment you feel like you're gonna stop learning from other people, you're losing life, bro. My kids are the greatest example of that. They're magical. The way they kind of put thoughts together, curate understanding, it's beautiful. There's no algorithm. It's just literally, okay, how do I digest this? Yeah. There's a natural curiosity that they have that we lose when we get older because we're programmed to be somebody.
Yeah.
But
habits and everything that
they're so brave because they do exactly what they want to do.
100%.
Without thinking twice about it.
Yeah.
Until we tell them, hey, this is not what you're supposed to do. Yeah? Shivam, here's the thing. If you feel like therapy is going to benefit you in the long run, like my advice, knowing our culture, if you're going to get stereotyped, if you're going to get labeled, which is a very harsh but true reality, man, don't say it. Like, also part of our culture is like, I'm not going to talk about anything until I actually do it. I mean, like, until I actually make it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's a big thing, no?
Big thing, yeah.
So then look at therapy the same way, bro. Cool. Well, I'm not going to tell anyone, but they're going to start to feel the difference in a little bit. Me being healthy, me being a better version of myself, they're going to feel it. And when that conversation is ready, sure. But like, is anything going to change because they don't know you're going to therapy? No.
People are quite scared of judgment and everything, right?
Yeah.
And also like physical appearance, which can physical appearance get you in depression? For example, um, hair, right?
Yeah, look.
It's-
And I love being bald, bro.
yeah.
But in South Asian culture, forget about it.
Yes.
You
So
know?
if you're getting bold, like you have
Yeah.
experienced this, right? And it's the most, if you ask a boy,
Oh yeah.
a man, like what's the scariest shit? They'll say something, and then you talk about hair, you're getting bold or something like that. It's so insecure.
Bro, let me tell you something. I had a big crisis. Okay.
Yes.
By the time I was 20, I realized my hairline was receding.
Oh,
So it was,
quite early.
but it was, I still had a full head of hair. I could
Mhm.
just see the edges kind of, my
Mhm.
barber would tell me, be like, bro, like, it's going to happen.
Oh wow.
Yeah. You know? And then, man, you know, physical beauty is one thing.
Mm.
And I'll be lying if I said, like, nobody's looking at it.
Mm.
Yeah? But if you're also trying to tell me that, like, bald men aren't good looking, that's a you problem.
No, you are a
You
good
know?
looking man.
No,
Yeah,
but
you
thank
are.
you. But it's self-esteem, bro, and it's
Mm.
self-love. Like ultimately, like my worth isn't gonna derive from what other people think. And in
Mm.
fact, my currency, social currency, is going to increase the more people
Mm.
feel how
Mm.
comfortable and secure I am with myself.
That's true.
You know? Energy is a big thing, brother.
Mm.
Yo, Michael Jordan's one of the most like popular people on the planet.
Yeah, and he's bald.
He's a bald dude, Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant. Yeah.
Yeah? We can go through a million different
Mm.
people
Mm.
that are legends
Mm.
that have all the respect. Yeah?
Yeah. But also they are because of the status as well, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
But my thing is like even if they didn't have it,
Mm.
like beauty is within us, man.
Mm.
Like God didn't make any mistakes, bro.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. I
And
don't.
everybody talks like, oh, I'm this pious religious person. You know what humans do really well? Judge. I don't care how much you go.
Yes.
Like it just seems like judgment is, and then that's it's part of who we are.
100%.
You know?
Yeah. We judge people by just their appearance.
Yeah.
Right?
Man,
Once you look them, I don't want to look beneath what it is, because I've experienced that shit. Because once you're fat, and people won't look beyond that. For example, if I'm walking in a room, people know, even though people know me over there,
yeah.
right? Even if I say something, they won't listen to it just because you're fat. And that same goes with the bold guy as well, right?
Sure.
Back in India, it's fun to criticize people. Bold is, it's not in your hand, right? Yeah, obviously getting fat and thin, it's in my hand, but boldness is not in your hand. They'll say taklu and stuff like that, right? They're just gonna objectify you, right? So it's hard to get through that shit.
You know, man, I'm gonna relate this to social media really quickly. You know that saying, comparison is a thief of all joy?
Yeah.
Man, that thing will rob you blind, bro.
Mm.
The worst thing that you can do, we call them thinking traps in therapy. It's a really fancy word, and there's a number of them.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, if I only see the negative, if I only see what I am not, if I only view life as these are my deficits, man, 75, 85, 95% of me is completely vanished. We bring so much beauty into this world, each of us, in varying ways, even killers, bro.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah,
We're very complex.
Yeah.
There are parts of us that suck, and there are parts of us that are absolutely magnificent.
It is. Yeah.
But it's never this or that.
Yeah.
It's a range.
Range. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So fuck it, man. Like I don't have any hair. Cool. Maybe that is not a preference for some women. I'm okay with that. But what I can offer you, emotional stability, matureness, I got a great career. I love my family. I have a profound respect for the world. Like these are qualities that like I hope somebody values, you know?
That's true.
And the people that don't, fuck them. Like respectfully, you know? Cool. Like I am not going to criticize someone because they're like, you are not my flavor profile. We all like listen, I'm shallow. I'm a shallow guy, bro. As much as I talk about this shit,
Yeah.
like
Everyone.
you know, and it's okay.
It's okay.
I have my preferences, and it's okay. But one thing I'm gonna make for sure, like that person's belief isn't going to diminish my worth. Yeah.
It's hard to understand because now you're in your 30s, right? But for a guy who is 24, 23,
Yeah.
is getting bored, it's hard for him to understand
For sure.
all this, right? Because I can see you're very confident. Whenever I see you, I saw you for the first time, like, okay, yeah, he's a confident guy. you don't worry about your hair, anything, right? Even now we talk about, you just took it out your head,
Yeah.
right? But for the guy who is in like he's 34, like 24, 25, and for him hair is everything, because that's, people are gonna judge.
It's also a
Even
spirit. Yeah.
now people might be judging you as well, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, with your
Listen,
hair.
bro, it's also connected to our culture and religion. Think about Shiva.
Sure.
What do his locks mean, right? And he puts those like beads in his locks. There's connection to hair,
Connection,
bro.
yeah.
You know, and but my thing is like it's a journey, man. Like I'd be lying to you if I said at one point, because I've had a really good life, bro. Like life has been very nice to me, very good. Like had a lot of social capital in high school, had a lot of like friends, did all the things that I wanted to do. Yeah. And the moment, and I've always been a pretty confident guy, I think, you know?
Sports does help you with
Yeah,
that, right?
for sure. Learning how to deal with pressure, all that stuff. I promise you, bro, when I started going bald, I was like, man, I'm not beautiful anymore. No girl's gonna like me.
Yeah.
I struggled with it. I used to wear hats all the time. All the time. Now I like it because it's like a fashion statement.
Yeah, it is.
I like
yeah.
putting myself together.
Looks
you know?
good, yeah.
But I can't run from who I am. And you don't think other people can see that? You don't think they're gonna notice, oh, there's the guy that's wearing the hat all the time inside? You're gonna be that guy. It's a journey, bro. It's not gonna be like you're gonna fix it overnight. Sometimes you gotta go get stuck in the mud to learn. You know, and it's a process. But I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you need to feel confident and you need to feel great and you need no, man. Like think about why you feel shitty. Think about why you don't feel beautiful. Think about and what are some other things that you can do. But innately, man, like we're all beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
Like we're all God's children. Tomorrow you have $100 million today, I have $0 today. We're both gonna die and end up in the same place.
100%. Yeah.
What's the difference, man?
No
it's
difference.
Just the life, the path that we're given here is just a little different. You know? Tomorrow, man, like when you're a kid, every single kid is beautiful. I don't care who you are, man.
It is, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So then why is it that when we get older we lose that?
It's hard, yeah. People have experienced some kind of shit, and that's the reason they, tend to be more rigid with that thinking as well.
People are beautiful, bro. Like, let's look at animals for a second. Have you ever said, "Oh, that's an ugly tiger"?
No, never.
That's a fat monkey. They're all beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah.
Right? We're just too hard on ourselves, man. Like we put all of these hierarchies to make sure here,
Here, yeah.
And the one thing that I'm sick of is like, these like, have you heard the red pill, blue pill guys?
Yeah.
Bro, this is the worst thing for this next generation, man. Because they're just teaching boys, young men how to be assholes, how to devalue women.
Yes.
You gonna talk to your mom like that? Are you serious? So then why are you gonna talk to another lady like that? Like you have to have self-respect, self-love in order to love somebody else, bro.
100%.
That's the truth. So it's like if you don't feel beautiful, like that's fine, but nobody, just because you get a superstar, like a rocket ship, Ashwarya Rai comes to you tomorrow and it says, I want to, nothing's going to change, bro. Those insecurities aren't going to go away. Tomorrow you get shredded, you get a six-pack. You think anything's going to change? No. Yeah, maybe you might get some more beautiful women, sure.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to change, bro. Like it's
if you're not changing from inside, doesn't make any sense, right?
You got to be comfortable with who you are, man. Like it's like, and I think being bald has been the best blessing in my life because it's humbled me, bro.
Yes.
And now I look at people and I'm like, okay, like, you got to learn how to find the beauty, and it's not just in yourself but in the world, bro. So these things are gonna happen. Like there's gonna be moments in life where I'm not gonna have any control, but I got to learn how to maneuver through it. And again, I think energy, bro. People are attracted to energy. Are there going to be some girls that don't like me naturally? Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
There's going to be a ton.
But you get okay with that, like over the period of time, right?
I hope so. Yeah. Because the reality is like there's tons of guys my age that are holding on, like like everybody's journey is different, man. Yeah. And in our culture, the honest truth, like you said, like being bald is not great.
Not great. Yeah. If I get bald right now, I'm always scared of getting bald, so I'm not gonna lie, because once you see your hairline receding, you get scared,
Yeah.
right? And it's not because I won't look good. It's because somebody's gonna poke at me. That's the only thing they're gonna look at. Especially, not again and again I'm saying in our culture back in India, but that's the reality. Even if I go there, even if I have everything, they're gonna point out at my hair like, oh, you're getting bold, you're getting bold. That's it. They don't have anything else to talk about. I feel like that, right? Because once you start talking about what you really feel like, people, okay, yeah, he's just talking nonsense because, yeah, you're bold. Even if you talk sense, go back to your country, you talk sense, the end point is, oh, you're bold. That's it.
But you know what it is, man? Our culture is like, and maybe it's not just our culture, but I'll speak on behalf of our culture, is like, nobody gives a shit the moment you become successful.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. All of a sudden, this guy's the most beautiful guy. All of a sudden, I believe in your dream. Oh, you wanted to be a track star? No, 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 no. Look, and then everybody, the whole community, the village laughs at you. All of a sudden, you're a hero. Yeah?
That's true.
You got to make it, bro. You got to make people feel your worth. You know, that's the honest truth. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, like, you just accept it. No, man. Like, use that as fire, bro. Use that as energy.
That's true.
I love being counted out, man. I love it.
Underdog.
Bro.
We're talking about Naruto, underdog, right?
Count me out, bro. Because it's like, bro, like, life's hard, bro. You got to find ways to, like, manipulate that feeling of, like, these things aren't going the right way and transform it into something beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
So count me out, bro. Count me out. Like, you know, right now I'm in this place where, like, the honest truth is like, I'm 32 and my mom is actively trying to help me find a partner. And she literally tells me all the time, she goes, you need to take your piercings off because the aunties and the aunties are saying that, you know, the piercings and the tattoos, like, you know, the girls don't like them. I'm like, I don't give a shit. You know, and they're like, oh, I wish you had hair. I had long hair when I was a kid, bro. Long hair. And they're like, oh, like my mom's like, none of the girls like want a guy that's bald. I'm like, that's their problem. Like, what can I do?
Nothing.
This literally I can take off. If I want, I can go etch my tattoos off tomorrow.
But you're not gonna do that, right?
Fuck no. Like, listen, one life to live, bro. One life to live. Make it as meaningful as possible. Make it as beautiful as possible.
Yeah.
You know, and like, what can I say, like, sometimes I'm hurt because some people don't want me because I'm bald? Sure. Yes. But also, it just signifies, or it's a signal to me. Maybe we just weren't meant to be.
Yeah.
There's somebody, bro.
It's hard to accept that as well, right? Because for any other person who's going through the same shit, as you are an intelligent man. You've been doing this therapy and everything, right? It makes sense. But some people, it's hard to just accept that. Okay, she doesn't want me because I'm bold. It's hard.
It's a shitty feeling.
Yeah, it's a shit feeling, and it's so hard to just accept that, right? Just because how I look, people are not gonna take me seriously, and it's a bad place to be. And it's good that you have managed to get through it, right? So like, I know this is, in a way, it's a blessing, right? Getting bold, you're fat, everything, right? It's a blessing. Because for me, it's like, okay, I'm fat, but I'm still doing the same shit that you guys are doing. So once I get through this shit, I know I can do much better, right?
Yeah.
Much better than what you guys can do.
Listen, and let me just be real with, like, for you with a second. There are inherent benefits cognitively and physically to being in shape.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to be ripped and have an 8-pack.
Yeah.
But just kind of an active lifestyle, whatever that looks like. Whether it's just like old people go on walks every day. I love watching it, man. You see the old uncles with their hands in the back and they're just walking.
Yeah.
Love it. Some people play cricket, bro. Some people swim. Some people take walks. I don't care what it is. An active lifestyle is going to help anybody.
100%.
It's going to help you cognitively think. It's going to help your self-esteem.
Yeah.
And physically, you're going to be great. Yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and be like having that kind of a mindset is, I think, is healthy. You know, there are changes that can be made, right? And again, with like being bald, like, you have to focus on what you can control.
Yeah.
Right. So like, you know, again, the first thing that we look at is physical attraction.
Physical.
Right. Okay. So like, maybe I've lost my but I dress pretty sharp. I speak really well.
Yeah.
You know?
True.
I think I'm pretty charismatic. Like you got to be able to find the beauty that you you bring into this world.
That's true.
Women feel that, man. People feel that. Not just women, but like people, in general.
100%,
you know? My favorite thing is like talking to aunties now, because they always want to like talk to me first and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, before I'm meeting their daughter, and because they're actively trying to set me up, right?
100%, yeah.
They look at this guy, tattoos, a nose piercing,
nose piercing, yeah.
What the fuck's going on? And then they're like, oh, like, you know, like you can speak the language. Oh wow, you're very kind. Oh, like, you know, we're a lot more aligned. But our generation's cool, bro.
Yeah.
Like our generation is like keeping the tradition and doing our own thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful moment. And so it's like, listen, like I'm going in circles here, but what I really want to say is like, you make the most out of your life, bro. Like, you know, and live. Like, is everything gonna go our way? Absolutely not. But am I still gonna find a way to make through it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Initially, it's hard, but like later on, you realize it.
Yeah.
Right? It takes time.
Yeah.
It does take time, right? It took you like 5-6 years just to get used to it.
Way longer, bro.
Way longer.
Like my whole life. You know, like we all have insecurities. All of us. Every single one of us. This is a lifelong process. Like just because I figured something out tomorrow doesn't mean I'm gonna be great the next day. Life's always gonna bring us obstacles.
That's true.
But I'm firm, bro. Like I know there's a lot of things that I can't control. But then that's why I lean on my faith. You know? And it doesn't have to be faith. Just something that gives you hope.
That's true.
You know?
100%. You want to get married?
Yeah.
Right now? Like, is it the perfect time?
I don't know. I don't know if there ever will be a perfect time. You know, I can find a million excuses for the rest of my life. You know?
But you want to?
Yeah, I think one of my biggest goals is to be a father, bro.
Oh yeah, you're doing all the music and stuff.
I want to be like a good dad. And I got very lucky. I had 2 very good parents. And I think I'd be an excellent, like, you know, like.
So you are, in a way, you are ready.
Yeah, hopefully in the next few years, everything will come together and will play its course.
Yeah. If you ask me, I'm not ready.
There's also a window too, biologically too, right?
Yes.
So that's
almost
the other piece.
there, almost there.
Yeah.
28, 29. Oh, you should get married and stuff like that. But marriage is scary nowadays for even men's as well, right? There's all this feminist and stuff like that. They just want one thing, that's money. So it's scaring me.
How do you know that? I'm not saying you're wrong, but how do you know that for sure?
Social media and the news I see nowadays.
Yeah, so get off it. Listen, the science. Well, I know for you, you can't.
Yeah, in a way,
it's part of your work.
Yeah.
What I will say though is that the science. Look at the science, right? The psychology behind it, bro. Self-esteem, confidence, like nothing good comes out of social media. Like if you can curate an algorithm to make sure that you get brilliant things come, comedy, engineering, whatever, great. But nobody's taught how to like make it seem that like what you're viewing is content that's digestible, educational, healthy, safe. So if we know that it's like the wild, wild west, then what are you doing? Like if it inevitably hurts yourself in the long run.
Yeah, social media does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it gives you more option. I think so. Because right now, if you date somebody, you know, they have like millions option now. They just can go to Instagram or Tinder and stuff like that. You can find somebody else.
Yeah.
Loyalty is hard to find nowadays. What I believe, it's like the rarest shit right now. For me, it's like even though if I get married, the first thing is like loyalty, and I'm not expecting anything from anyone.
You know, Shivam, I strongly disagree. I think, are there tons of people who are very trendy and fast? Sure.
Yeah.
But I want to say most people are saying the exact same thing that you are. Bro, what do I want in a partner? I want somebody that's loyal. I want somebody that I can have fun with.
Yeah.
I want somebody that's from my culture. Yeah?
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
Bro, there are billions of other women saying the exact same thing. You think they want to jump into a relationship where a guy's going to leave? No. Take time to invest in your partner, bro. But investing online isn't going to necessarily get you there. It might. I'm not saying it's, you know, there's tons of people that have met online and done it. What I am saying is be firm with your values, bro. Don't write off the rest of the world. There's somebody that is just as loyal, maybe more. There's some, you know, the world isn't black or white. It isn't this or that. It's very nuanced. There's a lot of in between too.
Yeah, I'm struggling with that because I'm always black and white. For
But you
me,
can't be. That's
yeah,
not how
I
it
know,
works.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard. Like
Yeah.
many people have told me that, but for me, it's like black or white,
Mm.
and it has caused me a lot of trouble back in other
Yeah.
relationship as well, right? Because for me, it's like either you have it or you don't have it, and humans are
What? Like
in between there.
have what specifically?
Either you have me fully or you don't have me at all.
Okay.
That's what I believe. If I'm with somebody, I feel like that is why what I offer to them.
Sure.
But sometimes I go overboard. Sometimes I tend to control their life as well,
Yeah. Well.
and it's not good. I've realized recently it's not good, but that's how my personality is, and if I go that way, I lose the person almost every time.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, and it's hard to me to be in between. I feel like, okay, if I'm with somebody, I try to dominate them.
Well, respectfully, I think that's where your growth is, bro. Like
Growth in a way, like in a
it.
relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, listen, relationships in every culture are going to look different.
Yeah.
Their expectations are going to be different. Roles in every relationship.
So the young guy who is watching us for the first time and who has no idea about what is therapy, how can you explain him or her what is therapy?
Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to say is going to look different
Yeah.
in front of every single individual therapist, clinician. Okay. So you walk into 10 different rooms,
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be 10 different approaches and styles. Okay.
Mm.
Ultimately, though, therapy is a tool that is designed to help and support people live the most optimal life, whatever that looks like.
Makes sense.
Each of us have different goals.
Yeah.
Each of us have different ambitions. Each of us have different struggles
Yeah.
and different strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, my job is to walk alongside you. Yeah.
More like a guide.
More like, yeah, or like a shadow.
Shadow. Okay.
You know, walk right beside you and curate and come up with ways where we can enhance your quality of life. Yeah. It's a very broad way of looking at it.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Very deeper way to even look at it.
Yeah.
Right?
So again, just to be very clear, number one, therapy, like somebody comes into my office, all I'm doing is, again, core things. Like I said, you're going to walk into 10 different therapist rooms, you're going to get 10 different ways of doing it. But what you're definitely going to get, non-judgment. So yeah, you can come in and be the biggest sinner. You can come in and be the biggest saint. You're going to get the same reaction out of me, right? Zero judgment. And what we are going to do is going to look different based on what your goals are.
Okay.
But all I'm on a bird's eye vantage point. If you're looking at a 3-dimensional plane, right? I am up, you are saying some things, and I am picking apart what you are saying. Okay? But it looks very different. Some people just want like traditional talk therapy. So it's one-to-one.
One-to-one.
Yeah. Group therapy is also very effective, bro, depending on what you want to do, right? If you think of traditional styles of like, maybe somebody's dealing with like a substance issue.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you've heard of like Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
Groups have tremendous impact. Being seen, validated, heard, shared experiences.
Wow.
Collective memory.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But do you think how like you see how groups can also be of benefit for people that are like very low mood, maybe even anxious?
Yeah.
We work on
things like
reciprocal
that.
communication.
Yeah.
We work on connection, building community, what that looks like. My main style, and I think what a lot of young people are driving towards, okay? Let's be very clear here. The root of social work, the root of therapy is very European. Very European.
I see.
The fact that you have to pay money to get a service.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Very silly objectively
yeah,
when you think
yeah,
of it, right? But for millennia, people have taken on this role, whether it's gurus, spiritual leaders,
Yes.
like it looks different in different communities, right?
Back in India, it's different, yeah.
My style, so when, at least as part of the North American context, there's been different evolutions of therapy, yeah? In the early 70s, they had something called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, yeah? There's a triangle. It's a very basic triangle. It says that your feelings, your thoughts, your feelings, and behaviors are all interconnected with one another. Okay? So you have a thought, oh, I'm going to fail this test tomorrow. Immediately, you go to your feelings and you start to feel anxious. When we're anxious, we avoid. So the behavior is I skip school.
Ooh.
Okay?
Yeah.
That was the old like model, and it's still used a lot.
Yeah.
It's still, in fact, it's almost the baseline for most places where they're offering some kind of therapeutic service. Then we shifted into something called DBT, which is dialectical behavioral thinking.
Okay.
DBT runs with the assumption. Have you heard of the word dialectic before?
I think I have. Yeah.
Essentially, it just means many things can exist all at the same time.
Okay.
Even opposite things. Yeah? I can be very angry with my mom and I can love her simultaneously. Yeah? DBT is very solution oriented. Yeah? And geared towards specific types of therapy. So like people that have like bipolar, crisis situations, typically DBT therapists, you're available, they're on call, they're available. Okay. Yeah? It's very skill oriented. Okay? We're teaching you skills here. CBT is like identifying where these like negative thought patterns are coming from and then fixing our behavior in order to quote unquote treat what is bothering you. DBT, now there's a shift where it's like we're going to start adding more real life tangible skills. So when you are feeling dysregulated or when you are feeling like there is a crisis, you have practical skills that will take you to a space where you're feeling grounded. Okay?
So more closer compared to
yeah, it's an evolution. Okay. Almost, yeah? It's like iPhone 1 to 4 to, right?
Yeah, now 6. Yeah.
Nowadays, for me, my favorite mode of therapy. So we call them modalities. Just means different. CBT is a modality, DBT is a modality. I love ACT, ACT.
Okay.
Acceptance Commitment Therapy. So everything starts and ends with you. With CBT back in the day, bro, in the 70s and the 80s, if you went to therapy, if I was the therapist, I'm the expert. And a lot of people still practice that way.
Okay.
I don't like it because who's the expert in your life?
Yourself, yeah.
Right? Yeah. But if I tell you because I have a degree that I'm the expert, there's an inherent power dynamic that just feels weird.
Yeah.
So acceptance commitment therapy is actually really beautiful. It starts and ends with you. We identify what your values are, your core values. We all live by values that make us feel who we are. And the more we deviate from these core values, the less we feel like ourselves. And that's where we have this like trouble, this resonance with like, shit, man, like things are really hard. Like, what do I got to do? Well, if I start making those values, like if I start living them out more on my day to day, maybe I'll start to feel a little bit better.
Yeah, true.
So ACT therapy is one. And then there's another style that I really love. It's called narrative therapy.
Okay.
Narrative, like the word sounds, it's all story. Yeah. But if I am only able to see my story from a negative light, I'm missing so many parts of beauty that I bring into the world.
Makes sense.
So it's a lot of, we call it reauthoring and reframing. We're going to rewrite your story from a lens where maybe it's not completely deficit based, but we're adding more positive memories, more moments of beauty, more moments of meaning that were perhaps not seen, right?
So you give them a different perspective, like a not a mirror, but you're showing the other side of it, right? If you're thinking something negative continuously, then you show me, okay, maybe you think this is negative, this can be positive as well through your lens, right?
Yeah.
Then I can see that lens. Okay, yeah, you're right.
And as somebody that doesn't know you and is unbiased, you can say all these things and I can be like, well, what I'm hearing is somebody that was able to do this, this, and this.
Perfect.
And you're like, oh shit, I didn't think about that. And then we just unpack and explore, bro.
Makes sense.
So, and then again, it looks very different. So this is like very generic and broad based, but I also work with like people that have ADHD, OCD, autism, all these things. So the treatment planning looks very different and it's very cool, bro. Like ultimately it can be very scientific or it can be very relationship based. Ideally you have a blend of both.
Okay.
Yeah. But therapy is only effective when the person sitting next to you, the clinician, there's a real bond. We call it the therapeutic alliance, but ultimately it's like, how much do you feel connected and seen? the more I'm able to understand your point of view, your references, your life, your cultural history, your identity, all of these things, history, politics, yeah, the more we're actually going to be able to like work together to build something that is relevant and meaningful for you. But if I don't know who you are, what your culture is, what your beliefs are, I can quote unquote prescribe a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, won't work for me.
Yeah. It's very silly. It's all of a sudden I'm the expert. Yeah, I know exactly what I'm talking about.
So that's more of your style, if I'm not wrong.
Right? Yeah, it's exactly it.
Like more of a connection, but not that much, but enough to understand what's going on. Right.
The relationship piece is the biggest thing for me. You know, the more I learn your story, the more I understand who you are, how you think, where these patterns are coming from, and we can unpack and explore together. Yeah.
Interesting.
So therapy is actually in a really like beautiful space right now.
Yeah.
I think where a lot of young clinicians are, the science is very important, but we have to combine the science with the real relationship. The number one therapeutic factor is the relationship. Without the relationship, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe not nothing, but the impact won't be as strong, you know?
That would be more impactful.
Yeah.
More of you see the solution, right? Than just, just asking, okay, what's happening, and just prescribe to them, right?
And therapy, again, it looks very different depending on what community that you're going to. Yeah. Some people want the office, bro. Yeah. They want to sit in an office. They want to do that. I work with primarily teens, okay? But 16 to about 25, 30. Okay. Yeah. Well, my office, if you come into my office, there's sports jerseys everywhere. There's chess sets. There's graffiti. There's art. There's so many things that make a young person come in and feel like, oh, wow, like this is cool. You know, they see pictures of Marvel. They'll see like sports pictures. They'll see drawings, art, like, very different than what your doctor's office.
They feel like, okay, he's like me.
Yes.
More like me, like he understands what sports is, and I can open up
the connection.
Connection.
Yeah.
You're already building the connection before then they talk to you. They see the environment. Okay, this feels cool.
And even when we look at people, we get a small idea of who they are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, for example, like when I see you when you're working, you always have your laptop out.
Yeah.
Right? We're always talking about like your content and all this stuff. Well, it gives me a little bit of an idea. Okay, Shivan's really into this. I saw your tattoo with the headphones.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, music must have been something in his life
for sure.
that is or was important to him. Like we get these like generic clues, right?
Yeah.
And give us a sense. And so like we read physically, then we read spaces as well. And if you feel comfortable and you can talk without feeling like that I'm going to judge you, we're going to do some good work. No guarantee that anything's going to happen.
Yeah.
But at the very least, you have a space where you can come, be exactly who you are, where the world doesn't have to like pin you down, judge you, all these things,
Perfect space to be opening up to. Right?
Yeah. But in theory, it sounds very beautiful. In
practical, yeah.
It looks very different.
Oh, I see.
Because it depends, bro. Like not every, and so my advice for somebody that is like interested in therapy, for the first time, especially young men, like ask the first day that you meet with your therapist, ask them about who they are. It's your, like, if you're coming to me for therapy, you're my boss for the hour. Yeah? So you better ask me the right questions. You better interview me to make sure that me and you are a good fit. Yeah? Let's be real here, right? There's also a financial component to it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So like a lot of clinicians, they'll also like, it's a numbers game. How many people am I going to see per week? Yeah. But the quality of care really changes, right? So we don't say this enough to like people. There's almost like there's this implicit trust. Just because I'm a therapist, this should work. Yeah. No. Like we need to vibe.
Yeah.
We need to understand who we are, and there needs to be some alignment, and without it, then sometimes the energy's tense. You can feel the friction.
Yeah.
It's not going to work, bro.
Yeah.
Like I could never go to a therapist that doesn't understand my culture, doesn't understand like why my values are important to me.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
As a first generation person living here, come on, bro. Like the struggles that I went through and the struggles that these kids are like who've been here for 5-6 generations, they're different. Not saying that one is better or worse than the other. It's just I want somebody that really understands. How do I talk to somebody about like, being so worried about leaving my culture and marriage. You know, like it's so invest in your therapist and ask them questions. Figure out who they are, what they practice, how they do it. Some people just want, hey, this is what's wrong with me. Give me the answer. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you straight up to your face, I'm not that guy. You know, I will find somebody for you in that case.
Makes sense.
You know, there are people for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So I think with young men, just like it's not as rigid and formal as it needs to be. Sometimes, a lot of the time, especially with the young men that I do, we'll go out into the community, bro. We'll like grab food together. We'll sit down. Sometimes the office is too stiff.
Wow. So you do that purposely just to bond with them.
There's like kids that I've worked with that have like very high levels of anxiety.
Okay.
So what we do is exposure therapy. So instead of talking, well, let's go deal with the thing that you're actually like worried about, anxious about. We create like what's called like a ladder. And each step we're going to build, but it's in the real world. You know?
That's cool. That's quite cool because I haven't heard anyone do this. And you were saying like you go out with them. For example, if somebody anxious to what they want to order, right? So you go out with them.
Yes.
And you tell them to order, right?
And it's
in a way,
but it's very, we do micro
steps. Yeah.
First, it's okay. We're maybe, let's say so let's say there's a person that's like very anxious about ordering food. Yeah. Okay. You know what we're gonna do the first time? We're just gonna do a couple of laps around the mall. We're gonna do a couple of laps around the mall. We're gonna drive. Maybe the first day we just drive around the mall, do a couple of laps in the parking lot. Second day, we're gonna walk around and we're actively gonna talk about, okay, like this is what I feel. This is where like this is how it's resonating in my body. This is what I'm thinking cognitively. Yeah. Reduce the fear. Okay, cool. Now you can be in the mall. Imagine like just going and right in. There's all these like moments of, oh my gosh, all these people are watching me, whatever. We deal with all the micro. And then maybe the last step is, okay, now let's try to take an order. Before that, we'll take a bunch of orders together. Whatever it looks like, you know? Therapy is actually very cool, bro. But it's like it's worth finding the person that is going to be the person you need. If you're creative, find somebody that's going to do something creative with you. You know? Bro, some of the best therapies, like I have a few kids that I'm working with, we're making albums together. They have a really hard time talking about some of the things that they're going through. They love music.
Yeah.
You know? Cool. Okay, I'll get you a bunch of beats. But first, we got to go through some of your favorite artists. We got to go through the lyrics, find the meanings of like why this resonates with you so much. Build some emotional literacy. Then we're going to start writing stuff together. We're going to start writing verses. What does it mean to write a verse about love? What does it mean to love as a son? As a first generation person here?
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And through music, it can be very healing.
You understand them as well.
Yeah. Art is a great, like if people have like an affinity to art, music, whatever, all of these things are proven, like scientifically proven to have equally the same amount of or more like therapeutic impact as just the one-on-one talking thing. You know?
Yeah.
So to answer your question, it's very varied. But invest in like do research. Don't just sign up for a therapist. And don't just like, there are people that are in for the money and there are people that are not like maybe aligned with what you're looking for.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So then you got to
go there and see if it's going to work out for you or not.
Yeah.
A couple of sessions, you can predict, right?
And typically people will have profiles, bro. So if you go like online and you go to like my practice, you read about me. And you're like, oh, this is what this person's interested in. I've said it a few times today. Like everybody's story fascinates me.
Yeah.
So that's where I start with. Let me learn who you are. We each have a story that makes us beautiful. And we each have a story that like we've experienced hardship in some way. Let's
dive into that.
Yeah, let's write these next chapters in your book as something that's aligned to like some of the goals that you want for yourself.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So let's say Shivam is coming to you for read your profile.
Yeah.
He likes you as a person and as a therapist. So he's 28, married to the woman, love of his life, staying with his parents, irrespective of the country.
Sure.
Right, eating good food, healthy living,
Yeah.
lifting weights and going. He's working as well. But if he's feeling lost and he's not feeling complete, which is a case in a lot of men these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how would you like? What would be the process for you? Be like, I know it's
Yeah.
different, but let's take him as an
Yeah,
example.
for sure.
And,
There's a really cool exercise that I've used a lot. I've used it for myself. It's very simple. You don't need to have a therapeutic background to do it. There's a sheet of about 60, 70 different values. Okay.
Okay.
And through each of the values, we're going to mark very important, not important, or a little bit important. We're going to take all of those V's, every one of those V, and we're going to make almost like a quad axis. Okay. And one domain, one quad is going to be health, and one domain is going to be relationships, and one is going to be work, and one is going to be leisure. And we are going to map almost like, so it's a quad graph, but now it's a bullseye. So we're going to add a couple of rings in there.
Okay.
We're going to see how aligned these values, these very important values, are to your core. If you're living them out every single day of every moment of your life, great. We don't need to make any adjustments. But the ones that you feel you're far, like you're derived far from, let's try to just see if we can move closer to the center and see if your quality of life changes a bit.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
And again, it goes back to my preferred style of doing therapy,
correct.
right?
Physically
so
involving.
Is like feeling lost like is a big, like, can we describe it as a mental health
I think,
problem or no?
bro, you know what it is? It's like, try to tell me one person in life that hasn't felt lost at any point in the world, right? Like, if you think back to your parents, your grandparents, everybody, it's a normal part of life.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, don't need to overcomplicate some things. It's just a matter of like normalizing feeling lost is okay. You don't need the answers all the time. Would it be like awesome to have control in every moment of every day of every part of your life? Sure, it might be nice. Is it realistic? Probably not.
No.
So then how do we work towards the feeling of, okay, I'm not feeling like I'm living up to my potential and I'm doing all that I can too, right? And so again, it's like a space to just unpack these things. It's very philosophical, bro. It's actually very cool.
It is quite philosophical. Yeah.
Which is why I love it, because we get to like go into different spaces and places. You just bend and bend and bend and bend, and then you're like, oh. And again, for me, like, I don't know when things will start to make sense.
Yeah.
We just talk and we plant seeds, the both of us together. When these trees will seeds will sprout into trees, I'm not sure. But hopefully one day they will.
One day they will. Yeah.
And you'll get some clarity, right?
100%.
Yeah. I think feeling lost, like one thing that we do a lot as therapists is we normalize hardship.
Oh.
Yeah, one thing I can guarantee you, both. One thing I can guarantee the rest of the world. There are two things every human will experience that are not great things to go through in the moment. Conflict and suffering. That is part of the human agenda. Yeah? So if we can normalize it, like if I can accept that this is going to happen and not like beat myself up over it, I'm allowed to feel crappy, right? Like, okay, this is not going great, whatever. But if I also see it as a certainty, this is not just an anomaly. This is a certainty. This is a factual part of human life that we'll each experience it varyingly. Take the richest person on the planet. Let's take easy person that comes to my mind right now is Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, yeah.
Okay? From the outside looking in, a lot of people would think, okay, number one Diablo player in the world. He is the owner of Tesla. He's sending more rockets up. He's displaced NASA as the number one, like all these things. And I guarantee you, like any other human, he has moments of hardship. He has moments of suffering, isolation, like all of these things. And if we can normalize it, this is just a part of life, brother. But you got the skills to go through it.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. But if you get lost in the, oh man, like, where am I going? What am I doing? And it's okay to feel that way. It's very okay.
Yeah.
But if that's the way that you're gonna think like all the time, we can add some skills to it.
It can mess you up.
Yeah.
Because then you won't be any productive, right? You'll be just stuck in that moment, like round and round and round, and same place. Even though if you're doing something else, you're still stuck there. This will continue, but your brain is stuck there, right?
Yeah.
So you need something from outside, grab you from that and
And I'm a firm believer, bro. Every single one of us, we have gifts. Yeah. And we live in an age where all we do is compare. But we each have gifts, bro. We've been blessed. Every single one of us. It's our duty to figure out what are these gifts and how we can apply them in ways that feel meaningful for us.
100%.
Yeah. So if I have a gift and you have a gift, but I value your gift more than mine, you see how like we start to, I can learn from you.
Yeah.
So, oh, Shivam's a very hospitable person, very kind. He's very patient. He listens very well. Yeah. But if that's, and then if I can learn and take that from you and add to my life, fantastic. But if I'm going to do this like comparison thing, I have this and he doesn't, you know?
And then it won't work out, right? That's true. But like, can you tell me the worst case that you have encountered?
You know, I think for me, what's hard, worst cases are when kids like familiar conflict, bro. Like when kids go through a lot, trauma, whatever it is, it's hard to watch young people like feel completely defeated. I can give you a million examples, but the constant is like feeling when kids don't believe in themselves. That's a hard feeling to watch, bro. Getting beaten up by the system, school, community, whatever.
Even the parents?
Yeah, whatever. Like I don't want to pinpoint one example.
Yeah.
What I am saying is like when I see a kid that's like lost, like has no hope, that's hard to watch. Because again, we each have a gift.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think like, I don't know. And it's probably because each of us will have a different case or thing that might touch our heart a little bit, right?
Reaction to different things,
Yeah.
different way, right? For me, it can be the biggest thing, and for you, it can be like, okay, I don't mind. But for me, it can be like, oh, this is make or break moment.
Yeah.
But for you, it's like just a moment, right?
Like when I see kids on the street, bro, like it hurts. And I don't care who you are and what you look like, you know?
Yeah.
Like
I know.
And so those are like the pieces that like that hurt, you know?
It does.
But then that's why we do this work, you know?
So more of you say like more of which is related to children that makes you feel like, okay.
Yeah, like systematic. Listen, in Canada, we talked about this a little bit earlier, right? We have this beautiful conception. We have this like we've created the most like artificial story.
Yeah.
You know, the world internationally looks at us and they're like, oh, look at these peacekeepers and these diversity champions. And then all we do here, all we've done here is murder Indigenous people. And the racism is real.
It is.
Let's be real here, okay? Like you guys are like recently have moved here from India.
Yeah.
It's a hard life for you guys.
Yeah.
That is like the absolute truth. Being here independently, working, being a student, all of these things away from your parents, your friends, all of the normal things that you grew up with, right?
Yeah.
And what do you see online? What do you see? Like everybody is saying what? They're saying fuck these immigrants. They're whatever. Everything is related to
right now. It's
my life sucks because of somebody else. But you know, it's hard, bro.
It's quite hard. Even though I feel like I might have faced some racism, but in a way, those guys like racism can be like upfront, or they can be like, okay, they're not saying you upfront, but they are behaving in that way that you feel like, oh, you're doing that is racism. There is differentiation, but you don't say it in.
That's exactly face, it. Right? And in Canada, it's very systematic, bro. It's when the system messes with you. What are you gonna do? Okay, me and a guy down the street have a problem. Okay, I don't have a problem dealing with that person. I'm sharp enough with my words.
Yeah.
Okay. But if the system is pulling me down to keep another group of people up, how do I fight that?
That's crazy.
Without losing hope.
That's crazy.
You know, there's systematic poverty. There's systematic injustice with health, immigration, status. Yeah. All of these things intersect, bro, and they're invisible. But we each walk with these wounds every day.
We do.
Right?
We do. Yeah.
And nobody sees it.
Yeah. Always there's a sword hanging on yourself that What if they just tell me to leave the country?
Yeah.
Even if I have everything, they just can, wake up tomorrow and they're like, okay, everybody who is on this status, you have to leave, right?
It's this country has done a magnificent job telling its people that they'll be accepted, when in reality, man,
Yeah.
like, you know, you
It's
go
different.
you go there's real poverty here.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it's almost exclusively people of color. You know, we look at the people that are locked up in jail, it's almost exclusively indigenous and black people.
Yes.
Why? Well, because the system is targeting them. Again, I'll make it very clear. System is not broken. It's designed exactly the way it's meant to function. Settler colonialism, bro.
It's hard to watch that,
Yeah.
Actually, it's quite hard to watch that. But
So, sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but
no.
so, and then this is why it's important when you find a therapist that they understand this kind of POV.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
You can come see me, but again, like, I've also lived here for like 25 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Almost your whole life.
Yeah. There will be moments where I understand because of my parents' struggle, you know? But will there also be value in you connecting with a therapist who's from India, who has moved here for like maybe 5-7 years ago? Like, I'm not saying one will be better than the other.
Yeah, I know.
But
I
the
know what you're
likelihood
saying,
to connect and understand the struggle, bro.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, my parents tell me all the time, and I think about like young people today, bro. Like when my parents, they left the war, they were living in Italy. There was communities of people living in one house, bro. Families, 3, 4 families sharing one room. But what do I see? I see young Indian kids doing the same shit.
Yeah.
You do what you have to
Yes.
do, bro.
Yes.
It's very expensive here.
It is.
You know,
Yeah.
you're tied down. You're like, they give you a student visa. They say you only work 15 hours a week. I know this shit, bro. But then 15 hours a week, what is that going to get you? It's not going to get you rent.
Nothing.
So now you got to work for cash.
Yes.
And you got to find a way to like share a space here.
Yes.
Without the white people being like, yo, look at these fuckers. Look what they're doing. They're cheating the system. You see what I'm saying? So like, and then you go to a therapist. You say, this is what's going on in my life. They don't have no understanding of this. What are you going to get?
Yeah.
You see?
True.
Um,
That's a valid point. That's like on point what you just said, because we all have been through, like whoever, like immigrants, the students who come in, first thing you face is like the rent and the stuff. You have just minimum wage, you have minimum hours to work, and obviously you're gonna find some other ways to earn money, right? Even though you're working hard, even though you're ready to work, they're not letting you work.
the
And
system.
now, the system. Now they're blaming us with everything. Okay, it's because of you we're not getting job. Like, we're ready to do everything, but you guys, want a specific job, a specific white collar job. I can only do this. But once you're not there, you see us. Okay, he's developing, he's landing up, right? And then they'll poke you. Okay, what are you doing, right?
And what do we do? Typically, you start to internalize. You're like, oh, what am I doing wrong? I'm not working hard enough.
Yes.
You see all these other people with nice cars and nice homes.
Yes.
Nah, bro. Like, and that's how the system gets you. It makes it gaslights you. It makes it feel like you are the problem. When in fact, there are inequities that are designed, that are purposeful in order to keep you exactly where you are. Another example that I can give you, social welfare. A lot of people use social welfare, right? And typically when people are like refugees, immigrants, maybe folks that have some disabilities, whatever, have some social assistance, right? What if I told you they haven't adjusted the rates since 1991?
Wow.
It's an intentional policy. So as the cost of living and as the standard of living continues to get exponentially higher, well, you're only allotted the same amount of money that you're getting from 1991. It's a setup.
Yeah, it's a setup.
It's a trap to keep you in social welfare.
Wow.
But how are people perceived? Lazy, alcoholics, drug abusers, blah, blah, blah. But once you know, the system will actually take money away if you go get a job.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So what do you do? So
That's
then
true.
now you're stuck.
In a way, yeah, it's a big loop. You're stuck in the loop. As you said, like I never seen with this perspective. I'm always like, as you said, am I doing something wrong? But yeah, as you said, like it's a loop that's going on, right? So last few questions.
Sure.
What will you tell the 10-year-old you or a 5-year-old you if you see him right now? What like let's take 10 years, because then you have a bit clarity, right? What one suggestion you'll give him?
Dive in deeper to the culture. Dive in deep
To your own culture.
Yeah, because it's rich and it's beautiful. But growing up here, you fantasize about like being Canadian.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm grateful because my parents don't speak English. So I had to learn Tamil. I had to learn how to read and write it and then advocate for them in all these places. But I was annoyed that I had to like grow up very quickly. I just want to be like these white kids. Yes. I want to just live life. I want to chill. I want to have thousands in my bank account. I didn't do anything.
Yes.
You know? But, man, and not to diminish other people's history, just who you are as a person, every individual.
Yeah.
Each of our cultures are beautiful. I don't care if you're white, brown, black, whatever. And it's worth like learning, you know? I might not have like walked on the same lands as my family and my ancestors. Yeah. But the more I learn, the more lucky I feel. Yeah. And the more 100%. Beautiful I feel.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's the only advice, bro. All the mistakes I made, all the great things, I'll make them over. I'll do it again 1,000 times. But if there's any advice I could give myself and any other young person, dive deep into your culture. There's richness, bro. There's so much richness and so much beauty in the old ways of living, bro. There's so much knowledge that's being lost. Yeah. So you try to preserve it in different ways, you know? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That's a good way to see it that way. Because if you ask me right now, as an immigrant, I see the same thing as you said, with the same lens. Why I wasn't there with the roots from the beginning. And I was grown up in India, right? I was there for like 24 years.
Yeah.
And later on, coming over here after a year and a half, I realized, okay, this is not what I want. I want to go back to my roots. I'm so within the roots now. I try to be, because that's where the real value comes from, what I believe.
Yeah.
The real strength comes within from that root, because I was finding it somewhere else. But when I went there back to the same place, I found the courage to do something else. Okay, why, how? You get all the answers within there, right? So yeah, I understand. Like that's quite true, and that would be the same thing for me as well. If I go to the 10-year-old me, I'll say him the same thing. Repeat the same mistake, perfect, but just pray at least one thing a day. Just go there and bow down to God. That's it, and you'll be good.
It's so deep, bro. Like everything can be an intentional and spiritual choice.
Yeah.
From the food that I intake.
Yeah.
Right? If I eat cultural foods.
Yeah.
Then I start thinking about my mom. I start thinking about home.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff that I read, I've always been fascinated with our religion and Hinduism. The more I learn, well, it also gives me more understanding about my parents.
Yes.
Listen, understanding is like, if I can facilitate understanding with anybody, man, you can be on that side and I can be on this side. But if I understand, we can get through a lot of shit. Perfect. You know?
Just one last few words that you want to say. It was great talking to you, though.
Thank you.
We had a great conversation, but just a closing statement from you. I'm not going to say anything. Just you saying something to the world. Whoever this is watching, like a person, we can affect at least one person. That's it. We're not aiming for like millions or anything. We're just aiming for that one person who can, who can feel like, okay, I'm not the only one going through this, right? So just last few words.
Yeah, sure. This is more just like a general statement, you know? Man, I'm so proud of like young people, you know, especially like young brown kids.
Yeah.
Everybody now, not everybody, but a lot of people are deviating a little bit away from your doctor, your architect, your lawyer.
Yes.
Man, I got friends that are DJs. I got a person that's a painter. I got a homie that works with kids. Yeah. Like, it's beautiful. I got friends that want to be pro soccer players and basketball players and, you know, but it wasn't like that 30 years ago.
No.
You know? So I just want to say, like, go make that mark on the world, you know?
Perfect.
We have like, we're just as creative. We're just as smart. We're just as beautiful. I have so many of my friends that are women that are going into the fashion industry, you know, dripped up in saris, but fresh, bro. Beautiful. They're just doing things, cooking, being chefs. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like just beautiful to see young people have the audacity to dream.
Perfect.
You know?
That's so true, man. Like, I don't know, you're speaking somewhere from my heart, because I had that feeling in my heart, but I couldn't speak it, because in a way you told that, like, it's perfect, because back in India everyone is like, okay, you have to be this. You can be everything. You, like, it's up to you.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, it should be coming out from your heart. That's it.
Yeah.
And I love what you said, man. I love what you said.
Young people have the answers, bro.
Yeah.
The youth are the truth. They have the answers, and it's been that way always. You go to the elders and you go to the young people when you're searching for like guidance. You know, that's it.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
buddy.
Shivam,
It was
thank you, brother.
nice talking
Appreciate
to you.
man. Yeah.
I hope to see you again, and thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Jai Hind, Jai Mahakali, and Jai Shri Krishna.